Good afternoon, everybody. How's it going? It's the Sunday kind of hangout and comic chat.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks very much for joining us in the present and in the future, if you choose to do
Yes.
so. We're
Yes.
right on time as usual, so don't even add us in the comments, bro. We're right on time. You're late. Maybe you're late. Hello. How are you doing?
Hello. Don't forget to
Hello.
check Terence's video about my favorite thing is Monsters Volume 2 you
Yep.
were talking about. I actually had to leave. Like
Yeah.
pleasantly, I just, oh yeah, you're doing the video because I get notifications, which is,
Yep.
it actually works. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. Anyway, it worked. And I was like, what? You know, because what I'm baffled about is quite early in the morning here. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't want to sleep or something. So that's why I
It
always
was
pop in
late.
and just,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, so yeah, check his videos out. I don't know yet if when I'm gonna watch it. I want to watch that video with Earl Grey and Forgerelli's
Mhm.
because I know there probably is fantastic conversation
Yeah.
between two guys because you know we both watch Earl Grey's videos. I like his, and I think he was really impressed with Volume 1 as far as I remember. Yes.
Yeah, they were both huge fans. I mean, they were in the same boat as the rest of us who read Volume 1, I think, or most of us who read Volume 1. It was an incredible first-time comic. Like, the thing that boggles my mind, it's the first comic that she ever did. And it's gorgeous, and it's a fantastic story, and it's riveting, and it's a page-turner. Yeah, so, I mean, they were huge fans of that first book, yeah.
I looked up for the Volume 2 and I saw it's on sale in here. So hopefully,
Oh,
maybe
nice.
if I find any extra funds, I'll manage to. But the thing is, I have to reread honestly the volume 1 because
Mhm.
I swear I have not finished it because when I was looking through it like again, I was like, yeah, sure, something's missing. My information is lacking. You know, like I was because
Right.
I probably got distracted like always I do because I know it's here. So I don't really, you know, like when you have it in your collection, it's like, oh yeah, but I can do it whatever time I want to, and I keep on
Mhm.
get
Mhm.
distracted with other ones. So you acquire to read like library or something like that. But I'm
Mhm.
definitely gonna have to read that first, and then maybe I'll commit to the volume 2 because I really like the way it looks. To be honest, I really like her
Yeah, I
art
should.
style.
That's what I want to do. Is I want to reread Volume 1. I pulled it off the shelf and put it in my reading pile to make sure that I
Yeah.
get to it, because I think that'll do more for the story as well, to like get a nice reminder of how that was in the first book. So yeah, I mean,
Because
ultimately, yeah. So I did do that video, and if you haven't read it, there's 1.5 million spoilers. Like, I spoil the shit out of it. So fair warning. And I think Earl Grey and Fortrelli do as well too. So just fair warning, if you haven't
I
read it
think
going into those videos, I fucking talk about everything, even the ending. So yeah.
it would be difficult not to because at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
quite a lot. It seems to be like a bit of a head scratcher when it comes to volume 2, isn't it? So
Mhm. Yeah, I
I'm
mean, the
just
ending
guessing.
is a head scratcher for sure. The ending is not that clear, right? So I had to go back and read
Oh.
it a couple of times. It's really, it's odd. It's an odd ending. Let's just say that. Yeah.
So do you think
Yep.
does it feel like there's going to be volume 3 or is that it?
I mean, based on what that conversation that Forgerelli was having, and
Mm-hmm.
that the stuff that he's read about, that she's done a deal with, I think it was Abrams Books or something, to
Oh, wow.
potentially do like a prequel to it, is what the word is.
A
I haven't heard
prequel.
any of that stuff. That's from what he was saying.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like there's going to be more. I'm kind of surprised at that. Again, because what I do know about her and the trouble she had to get this second book out, and the issues that she had with Fantagraphics, I had thought maybe that was going to be it for her as far as like comics going. Like, thanks very much, I'm out of here, you know. But
So
I mean, if she does more, I'll read it for sure. I'm not super excited about the idea of a prequel book, though. I don't really. I'm not down with that idea. I don't think that's super appealing. I like the ambiguity of this character looking into the past, and we don't know all the details, and we're finding out
yeah,
stuff
yeah,
as she
yeah.
does, right? Like, I don't want the answer key, you know what I mean? I'm good with a bit of mystery, right? So
Yeah, because then you can give your own thoughts or make
yeah.
it your own kind of idea what the book is supposed to have had.
Hmm.
But what happened to the Fantagraphics? What, they didn't get along because they're the ones who start raving. But I remember clearly when they were introducing her new book, Volume 1, they
Hmm.
were talking, they were hyping that book up. They were really excited to get the artist like her caliber, and especially like you say, having the first volume, it just just dabbled in the comic books, and she produced this
Oh,
body of work in volume one. It's already achievement and a half because the book is not thin. Do you know what I mean?
no, it's a doozy. Yeah, it's a
Yeah,
doozy.
exactly. So I'm wondering what do you know what happened with the Fantagraphics? Did they not agree?
She claims that they weren't promoting the book enough, which is mental to me. She
Oh
claims
wow.
that Fantagraphics wasn't paying her properly. She makes all
Mhm.
sorts of claims that eventually they went to court. I think they took her to court over, and they had a big court battle over because then I
Wow.
think what happened was she said that she wasn't going to do the book, and they had to gently remind her that you signed a contract for 2 books, so you owe us a second book. So I think there was a lot of that kind of thing, but like it sounds like she was saying stuff that just don't sound real to me. Like they just don't sound actual.
Oh.
Not saying anybody's perfect, but I feel like Fantagraphics has enough of a history now. I don't remember ever hearing a situation where they didn't pay their creators. It could have happened. I just personally have never heard that, right? So it
Yeah.
just seemed kind of off when she was saying all that stuff. And as far as like the promotion thing went, like I was saying in the video last night, I remember going to the bookstore and there being a display. Like it was one of those comics that even non-comic people had heard about because it was in prominent places within bookstores. Like it had a lot of push, so it was not
Interesting.
a difficult book to find. I
No.
went out and the first bookstore I went to had multiple copies when I wanted to
Yeah.
buy it, right? So yeah, it made quite
Interesting.
an impact. So it sounds like she just was having some difficulties, and I don't know her personally. I just know that maybe she was having some difficulties. She struggles from a few things, I think, and I think
Mhm.
she had illness as well too. You know, I had heard it was the money, and she balked on delivering the second book on time. That's hearsay. Okay, yeah. Hello, Lefty.
Mhm. Hello, 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 hello.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of details that, we just don't know, and
Mhm.
probably never will, but I'm
Yeah.
glad that the second book finally came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It took a
love
while.
her art. Her art is just fucking gorgeous. And sitting and looking at these detailed pages, there was times where you just stop reading and you just stare at the page because the cross hatching is just unbelievable, and the time
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It's really gorgeous work for a first timer.
Yeah. It seems to
Yeah.
be she's definitely very crafty when it comes to.
Oh,
Well, at least you know what it is. It seems to be that she already knew her way around the paper. It seems to be, and she already had a
yeah.
style. So it must be that she's been dabbling in art for a while because that just feels very comfortable. It looks the
Mhm.
way it's drawn, like from the little experience. Let's say I can say I'm not really published artist, so I can't really
Yeah, 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 yeah.
pronounce in that way. But I'm just saying, like from the artistic point of view, it seems to be that she's
Mhm.
extremely comfortable with that. For ballpoint pen, I think that's the whole thing she was going at,
Yep,
and that's not
totally.
easy. It's comfortable when you
She
get used to it.
Yeah.
It's comfortable when you get used to it, but it's not something like and it's another craft you basically work at, and if
Mhm.
you have the knack of it, it just looks gorgeous, like what it is in that book. So I definitely
Yeah.
like the way
Well, and even
it's
details
produced.
like in the
I
hair, just
absolutely love
getting
this cover. Yeah, I
just
absolutely love this
getting
cover.
the variation in the hair and that color transition and that light,
Yeah,
like, and to think that it's all pens, it's just
yeah,
stunning. And then that first cover, same thing. Like,
yeah,
it's just beautiful. The layers and the depth of color and
yeah,
kind of like forming that face. It's
yeah.
it's it's
It's a
kind of like
long
magical to
process.
me. It doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, a
Yeah,
long process is exactly what I think too when I see
it's
this. Like,
it's like
how much
like
you for fucking
the
ever?
do the doodlers usually use the pen
Yeah.
just to doodle, and you just go scratch your way out and blah blah blah. But that's just like your hand has to move right and left and center and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and it doesn't because ballpoint pen doesn't have thickness to
Yeah,
it.
that's right.
So it's just one monotonic line where you have to work at it to actually get the layers and composition, and especially
Mhm.
doesn't look like it's just static 2D, but it has to look like a 3D. So
That's
she's
right.
using color to help that. I honestly, the volume two cover is 100 times for me it just stands out. Like you
Yeah.
look at it straight away, you know exactly what it is. The first volume, the lady is gorgeous. She looks fantastic. But that second volume, I think just it's a score, in my opinion, for my
Yeah,
kind of
totally. Yeah.
taste. So I
Well,
just
and the
really
fact that
like
she's
that.
not just sitting there just coloring in, because you
Yeah,
could
no,
easily just color stuff in. It's like, no,
yeah,
no, I'm doing hatching to get
yeah,
that that
exactly. So
density.
that's why
That's
I'm
why.
that's what I'm trying to say, that she has that. She's already knows what she's doing, and she already knows what's good. What like it feels like it was supposed to be this way. Like she doesn't. It doesn't
Yeah.
look like a person who just okay. I'll just pick up wallpaper and then just let's go at it. It just doesn't look
Yeah.
like
Right.
that.
Yeah.
Oh, before we talk comics, I
Mhm.
managed to watch Furiosa movie, the Mad Max.
Oh, you did. Nice.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't dislike it, which was fantastic. Like lots of people like raving about it. I really liked, honestly, the Chris Hemsworth character, even though
Mhm.
they only have basically changed his nose, and it kind of really did change him the way he looks. But he's really good at being an evil character. So he was like proper like crazy. But I forgot, which is it's been a while since I watched Mad Max movie. In generally,
Mhm.
I forgot how disgusting the things
Mhm.
are.
Yeah.
How it's not really good. That the thing is not feels like too graphic. It is
Right.
just gross. Like there is one scene which I close my eyes, I can clearly see it. So she basically it shows everything, how she lost her arm, how she became who she was, yeah, Furiosa. And then
Mhm.
the way she lost her arm, that was disgusting as well. But what happened afterwards, because you could die because of the conditions they were living in. There's no clean water, blah blah blah, anything like that. And there's
Mhm.
a scene where she wakes up and there's this, like in caves, and it was surrounded by maggots, like dripping,
Mhm.
dripping, and like everywhere in her hand. That stump she had, which basically she lost, I think, up to here,
Okay.
filled with it. And you're like, "Ugh," like I was like, I remember why I did that.
Yeah.
It's just like it got that like, oh, I remember that Mad Max. Like you kind of like flashbacks to what kind
Yeah.
of movie it is, even though it's kind of deep in the movie. But all that the inhalations of them giving that adrenaline kick or something like that, and that is just like gross, just gross. How they use
Mhm.
females, and then you have that family in the sky, that in that like mountain where they are in charge of a whole area because they have the whole supplies chain and everybody's working for them. And then inbred situations, like, oh,
Mhm.
and you're like,
Mhm.
it was good story though. It made absolute sense. Makes sense to
Hello, Daryl
kind of
D.
like, yeah, hello, how they wanted to, and it's like what prequel. So you basically, I think there was fans when the movie with Charlize Theron, I forgot, Fury Road, is it called?
Yeah,
When
Fury Road. That's right. Yeah.
So when that movie finished, everybody, I think, as far as I remember, fans wise, they were asking Furiosa's story because she was as a great character to,
Mm.
like dealt with everything, and it was really well done. To be honest, I actually enjoyed it for the, like,
Mhm.
not always you like the backstory, you can kind of mystery of whatever happened to her, but the way they
Yeah.
introduced to everything, how she basically gained skills, what happened to her, like where she's actually come from, this haven of like wonderland, one patch of land in Australia. Basically, there's this one little thing, which is Australia is massive,
Mhm.
but in the conditions is like, like whatever would happen probably happens in the future. Sorry to
Mhm.
say that laughingly, but anyway, so it was funny how where she's from and how she was actually brought up, and why she had this knack for being like so strong, because seems to be in her DNA. But the way everything she had to survive and how she had, everything happened to her, it was really well done, to be honest. So
Yeah. Cool.
I wasn't wasting time. Let's say this way. It didn't feel like it was. Like
Was
you
there
could.
how are the action scenes? Were they as intense as Fury Road? Because some of those action scenes in Fury Road were unbelievable. Because I think they were mostly practical, like actually
Yeah,
happening. So were they good in this one too?
it wasn't entertaining, but I don't think it was like was one of the most memorable scenes now I can think of it. It was still the same. They showed how they built that truck in Fury Road. When they were shipping the ladies
Hmm.
to a destination away. So they were using the same truck in this one,
Hmm.
because they showed how that thing built and what they were using it for. And there was the scene where they actually had to go from A to B once again,
Hmm.
and they
Yeah.
used it as the fight scenes. But I think that's the one most memorable, because there was lots
Mm.
of action and they had to deal with not as much though. Like in the Fury Road, it seems to be the whole army was getting at each
Oh, yeah.
other.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in here, it was kind of methodical because they were going into direction, kind of telling the story. This is where they come from, what's happening in here, who's in charge of that, why they're taking over. It's like more kind of headspace because the Chris Hemsworth character, he was basically instrumental in Furiosa's kind of upbringing. It's not a spoiler; you've seen it in the trailers, I bet. So that's what happened in there, and I really liked it, to be honest. I think he did really well as a villain. Honestly, it's a refresher because you always see him, like as a Thor, like he's a good guy, one of the Avengers. And I think it's good for him as a refreshing, as an actor, show him his other side,
do something different.
Yeah, and it's emotional, the craziness, how he survived, who he was in charge, what his psychological kind of intent was, why he was going after somebody, and how Furiosa just got kind of placed in the right area. Well, she made a mistake, basically. Not really a spoiler alert, but anyway, this mistake happened. That's why she became who she was in the Fury Road. So if you enjoyed Fury Road, I think that would not. I don't think it would disappoint people. I think a lot of people are really enjoying it. And as I say, I watched it, and it was intense. Honestly, those 2 hours and a half, I think, it was quite intense. And afterwards, you just shake those things off, like grossness, and it's just like pure diabolical, like decapitations, arms flying away, like explosions. The only thing what Fury Road had, I really enjoyed, is the soundtrack, and this one didn't feel that way at all. So it had a really different taste in that sense. I think Fury Road had this fantastic soundtrack while in fight scenes. The guy who was this speakers, and he was like guitar, and he was like going at it, and they showed a couple of scenes right at the end, which I'm not spoiling, but it's some of the scenes, I think, which maybe they're saying is an intent for next one, apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just, making shit up. But I thoroughly enjoyed that one, which is kind of like interesting. Because I was dissing it. I didn't think because they would change the characters, because I don't really watch the trailers. I wasn't really aware of the storyline. But then the actress changed my mind completely. The way she was really good.
She's pretty great.
I really wanted Charlize, but Charlize is way too old to basically act her up at her age. Not that old. I'm saying that you can't be a teenager. You have to use CG to do so. But I think she did a really good job.
Yeah, she's a pretty good actress. She's I saw her in The Witch the first time, and I thought she was amazing. So.
There was a TV show on Netflix.
Unusual looking human being, that's for sure. She's very unique looking.
Yeah. She has been a Netflix show with chess. The chess. She was one of the girl geniuses who was going into that time where, where the chess matches were females weren't even looked at, and she was going through it. And I don't remember the name, of course, because we're doing live. But I think that's where she basically made the first impressions for me, where I got for the actress, and she was really good in there. So she has definitely has a chops for it. For sure. But I was I was surprised with Chris Hemsworth. So I was really doubting, because I always only see him as a goody two shoes since Home and Away. Come on, man. I watched that. So when he was like a teenage kid surfer in the Home and Away. So I watched him since then, and he always seems to be a goody guy, always. And then he became this massive building guy.
Yeah, this huge.
Oh yeah.
Freaking.
She was in the movie Split by M. Night.
The movie Split by M. Night Shyamalan. Yeah, I haven't seen Split.
No, I haven't either. No, I haven't watched that. I haven't yet watched Dune, but it's the sheer amount of time you have to use in order to see it. It's 3 odd hours.
Yeah, isn't it 2.5, 3 hours, something like that? I think so.
No, it's
I don't remember.
3 something, to be honest. I think it's 3 something.
Huge, yeah. But honestly, for me, it flew by. But yeah, that's a big time commitment for sure. It's a huge time commitment.
I'm not saying there would be, but I just sometimes I feel like, that's the thing. When we were watching Furiosa, it was a right time, right moment, and that just you get information correctly. But if the minute you have movies to involve storyline intent, you can't get it some of the stuff. So you have to
Mm-hmm.
rewatch, and then what? You commit another 3.5 hours. So that's why I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
pick just the right moment where you can actually just sit and watch the screen and see what's
Yeah.
all about it. Because I enjoyed the first one, so I'm curious to see the second one. That's for sure.
I loved Dune 2, I think is amazing. I loved those movies so much. I think he did a really bang up job. And the second one, I'm so satisfied by that second one. And what makes it
Mm.
even more satisfying is hearing people's frustrations about the ending. That makes it even more satisfying, without any spoilers. Like I think that ending worked exactly as it should then because of some of those reactions that I've heard, so
So did you finish the book? Because you were reading the
no, I
book.
still haven't finished the book. It's a goddamn tough read. I haven't finished it. It is there, but I haven't finished it.
Mm.
I'm about
Is it big?
halfway through it now or
Is it
whatever.
big?
So
Is it because of the way it's like? Is it dry reading? Like what? I don't know how to
no,
explain.
it's just me with books. I'm just a very, very slow reader when it comes to books. You know what I mean? Like I'll
Yeah, yeah, I do.
read comics or I'll sit and watch videos or whatever. But when it comes to books, I really have to be. Yeah, it's just a little more difficult for me. I'm not as good of kind of like committing and actually getting into a book and reading multiple chapters. Like even with that one, I was reading. There was a week there where I was reading like a chapter a night kind of thing.
Yeah,
So small chunks. I'm just a very slow reader with that stuff.
yeah, me too. I'm not very. I'm
Hmm.
really bad. I think it's for me. It's going back again. Like while I'm in motion. So I've opened the book and I start reading it. So I can probably go through a chapter and I probably will be okay with it. But the minute I got distracted or I put it away and the next day I have to come back to it, I kind of like it's like seems to be never reaching. Like it seems
Mm-hmm.
so far away from me, even though it's like
Hmm.
next to me. But it's just
Yeah.
like, but the comic books is different. I could just go through it. Like
Well, and like as an
it's a
example, what do I have? I've got the plague sitting beside me. I've got
wow.
the stranger sitting beside me. I've still got this that I haven't finished, for like prose stuff. I bought
Yeah.
myself 1984 because I figured it was time
Wow.
to read it again. But all these prose books are sitting beside me. It's like these 4 books will last me the year kind of thing. And they're not exactly thick books. Like maybe all 4 of those is the size of Dune, maybe, but like that's the other thing. It's a bit of a daunting read because it's a huge,
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
volume, right? So
I
yeah.
looked it up every single time I pass. I'll go to like a bookshop, just because they have graphic novels and all and prose books or real
Mhm.
books as they call them, some of them.
Yeah, yeah,
And I always look at the Dune and I'm like, oh, that's like, woof, that's like a double omnibus size almost.
yeah, yeah,
Just to compare my brain, and like, oh, that's.
yeah, right.
I mean, omnibus
Yeah.
is already kind of thing. Like, oh, do you? I like. There's no way. I don't know. Maybe there's a couple of you guys on YouTube who can do this, but there's no way in one sitting I can read one omnibus. There is no way.
Mm,
It's
mm.
just too much. It's too even for
Oh,
me.
that's a
Even
lot.
com,
Yeah.
especially like maybe it's material I'm choosing is most likely would be Silver Ages, which is more bubbles, speech bubbles. Let's say it this way.
Mhm.
However, I still think omnibuses in one go is not something like graphic novels.
Yeah.
It's like what, maybe 100 tops of page count. I can do that easy, no problem.
Mm.
Also, it depends, of course, the storyline. If it actually clicks
Yeah,
with
of
me
course.
and I
Yeah.
am enjoying the things, but yeah, it's like yeah, that Dune book. I looked because I know you talked about it, and it's like okay, this is like this thing in my head, and I know the movie came out. Shall I? Will I? Can I? I'm like no,
Mm.
it's just surely too big for me.
Well, and the other thing is like it's really good though. Like, and that's the other thing that it's not like I'm not liking it. Like there's chapters in there that kind of
Yeah,
flesh out some of the characters a little more obviously than the movie would. I really love. And there was one chapter in specific that I kind of wish they would have incorporated it in the movies because I think it's a really good moment of understanding the power dynamics between a couple of different groups, right? And
yeah,
your
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of expectations versus the reality. I thought it was a phenomenal read. So I'm really enjoying reading it. It's just it's not my go-to. If I come down here, I read a comic, I listen to some tunes, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of how it is.
yeah, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Oh, talking about this rumor mill, which has already
Oh,
came through to my side.
yeah.
So Sandman, the
Yeah.
Neil Gaiman.
Yeah.
apparently got in the trouble. It's actually quite funny, but always something comes out, which is not surprising because of the sheer publicity that people
Hmm.
get when they become famous. And I'm not surprised somehow just something popped up. If you piss somebody off, definitely if that kind of thing happens. But like always, never we don't know the full story. It's just one title comes out, they have their opinion, that's it, and it's the end of it. And you're like, I was not saying I was researching it,
Hmm.
not did I did. I just
Yeah.
typed a couple of things to see, and it was the same information. So really, the only thing I heard, oh, he's denying it. Okay, that's it, fine, and I go away with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't really kind of like since Ed Pisco's situation, I kind of want to steer clear from that because it just have
Hmm.
like a bad taste in my mouth, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because of the situation can happen to people, knows, especially when they get accused of. So I don't want to say anything about other things, so like
Yeah.
victims or anything like that. Not, I'm not talking that. I'm just generalizing that there's something again, rumor mills, and only speculations, no facts, and that's what the
Hmm.
problem for me is. So I'm just mentioning this because it's the
Yeah.
same man. I really
And
like the
no, I
body of
haven't
work.
looked into it either, but the little bit that I have seen, I feel the exact same way. It's like we just went through this Ed Pisker shit. We just fucking went through this. And some of the
Mhm.
things that I hear and see people saying about it is like, dude, don't you recognize that you're doing the same fucking thing over again? Like, don't you recognize that we don't know the whole fucking, like, it's mind boggling to me. Like, just going through something like Ed Piskor, and now there's a segment of people, because obviously it's not everybody, there's a segment of people doing the exact same fucking thing, and it's like, motherfucker, learn from like something that happened 5 minutes ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, it's not
really,
like this
literally.
happened years ago with Piskor. It's a
Mm.
few months ago. Like, I just don't get it. I just don't understand. And again, I'm in the same boat. I don't know many details. Maybe he's guilty, maybe he's not, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I mean, honestly, at this point, like, I have zero opinion on any of it, because
Mm.
we're so far outside of it that
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just
Look,
don't
it
know
just meant
anymore
it's
about
good
all
to
this
mention.
stuff.
Like, I mean, kind of like whatever it's mentioned, it's there in the public to hear. I
Hmm.
do like his body of work, especially I'm talking about only the Sandman stuff. I have not read any of the. You were reading the Dark Horse with what he was doing that myth
Norse
thingy,
mythology.
Norse mythology, which I have
Yeah,
never, I haven't
great
yet
Norse
found
stuff.
to
Yeah,
dabble into that. So I
so
mean, like,
good.
he's a good writer. You take that whatever you want to take it, and that's where as far as it goes. This information comes out. That's the thing. It's an information we don't like. Once again, mentioning the same thing. We don't know the facts and never will.
Yeah.
But as a body of work, you're kind of disappointing. If he actually is dabbling in that kind of stuff, disappointing because that's kind of like a good writer, good skills of using these things. But if he used that in advantage, which we don't know if he did,
Hmm.
that just the only
Yeah.
thing. It's a human at the end of the day. Human.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have
Human
make
being,
those
exactly
mistakes.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm,
Yep.
what can you do? Anyway,
Human beings that just want to get laid. Um,
in
prolong the
sort of
species.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess we'll find out what happened. But like I said, I'm not actively looking into it. Ryan wrote something about it in
Yeah.
his on his Patreon or
Oh,
whatever.
I
So
see. Okay.
I
Yeah,
read
yeah.
that piece on it as well too. And yeah, it's just, yeah, who knows? Who the hell
We'll see.
knows?
We'll see
I'm
what's
sure
gonna
it'll
happen next.
all turn out in the wash somewhere or the other. Either way, I still want to see the second season of Sandman. I can't wait for it, because we, as a family, we loved that first season, minus a couple of episodes that were a little less interesting. For the most part, it was a really well done show, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing where else it goes.
You watched his Dead Boy Detectives?
No, I didn't see that one yet. That's a good call. I should make sure that I
Watch this while you're
watch
waiting for
that
the
as well.
Sandman. I watched. I
Sorry, say
have
that
not.
again.
I watched a couple of episodes. I enjoyed it, but I kind of forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually quite okay. No, it's because I have not read material. I mean, I have barely scraped what I know about Dead Boy Detectives
Yeah.
in the Vertigo universe. That's how Sandman universe is one a part of the same. So they
Mm-hmm.
are introduced to there from there, and he has written several volumes just
Spin off. Yeah.
concern, yeah, spin-offs concerning them. So it's there. And the cast is great, I think, so far. I mean, as I
Mhm.
say, if you don't have that much opinion about it, I have not read materials, I can't say, but what I've seen from the comic book fan, it looks good so far.
Yeah.
It seems to be
Yeah, the little
intriguing
bit of
enough.
stuff I've read is been pretty entertaining.
Yeah,
Minus that there was a new Dead Boy Detectives
yeah,
series
apparently it
that I read
was.
that was just so. It
Yeah,
wasn't the best thing.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah, keep an eye on those.
Producers,
I think it
yeah,
was Netflix, wasn't it?
I
Netflix
think
has.
so. Yeah, I think
I think
so.
it has to be. Has to be.
Yeah,
Most of the time, usually them.
yeah, I'll check
Or
it out for sure. Check it out.
usually Netflix or Prime. I do think it's Netflix because Netflix is doing the Sandman, so I presume that's where the rights come from.
Mm.
So it's probably there.
Oh, yeah,
Anyway,
right. That was a Netflix thing. Oh well, I'll have to wait then because we don't have Netflix anymore.
oh,
We had my parents' account, and my parents got rid of it because I didn't want to pay for it. We didn't want to pay for it, so we just piggybacked on their account,
oh,
which
there's
was
another
great.
thing with Netflix. Apparently, they forcing people change the plans because they want them to be full price tag, and you don't really have a choice. That people make a huffle about it. How dare you making us not like you have an option now? You don't give us any more options because what they're saying is we're canceling this cheapest one,
Hmm.
apparently, and then you have to no choice but go into the higher bracket one kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So they're trying not to give you as much options as they were used to be giving you to, even though you have to watch ads. Apparently,
Yeah,
I don't
right,
know.
right.
Anyway, comics. Let's talk comics.
Yeah,
Comics.
yeah. Go for it. What do you got?
Okay. My library has been kind of changed with the graphic novels. I'm not sure if he. Uh, hello.
Agreed.
AFPC.
Fully agreed. AFPC. Welcome. I agree.
Um, uh, my library's graphic novel section is disappearing, so I'm not sure. One of the bigger ones do actually. The local one still has it, but one of the bigger ones, which had much more choice, it's kind of like maybe I couldn't find it anymore. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I picked up one of the things, and this is it: the Magical Twins,
Ooh. Oh, you
Alejandro
got it right. Oh,
Jodorowsky's
cool.
and George's best
Sure. Yeah.
humanoid
Wow.
books are. When is it published? Been a bit. Seven. When is this? 2017 license produced. So it's a thin book, very teen, like kids friendly storyline. It's actually a teaching moment as well. In this one, I was surprised because I saw Jodorowsky is a thin, very quite thin book to be honest. So I was just because of Jodorowsky's wanted to see. I'm not sure about George Best. I'm not aware. Maybe you are more aware of a George Best. Are you aware of
Yeah, I
George
know the
Best?
name for sure.
So it's a story about a king, two children who about to basic not about to, but we've been teaching how to get hold of how you're going to manage the power after the parents will be going away. But before that would happen, and all the teachings, the bad guys surrounding the castle, and they are being requested those kids to be helping their dad, who is supposedly captured in a tower, almost like a Sleeping Beauty type of a thing. Those two kids or it has to be able to go through the quests through the islands in order to save their dad. Very intriguing, very easy reading. I love the art. I like the action scenes. The surprise ending was kind of intriguing, but you will get it. As I say, it's really easier to read it with your kids. I think your kids will definitely love it because there's lots of action scenes, quest type of storytelling. Those kids, Amaro, and Mara, so basically named backwards and forwards, so twins, who is the ones who's going through the quest in order to save their father. A lot of happens. They all get through the bosses if you are a gamer. So maybe that's how you can interact with your kids when you're reading the story to them. There's the bosses you have to go through in order to survive, blah blah blah, and all that stuff and powers. It's very imaginary, beautiful color schemes. like big pages, which I absolutely love. I think it's intriguing to read this way. I think it's much easier for kids' eyes as well, I think, to make them a bit more curious. The islands look fantastic. The bridges through the islands, the crossings, and the reward right at the end will maybe surprise your kids. I don't think the adults will definitely know the ending. The way
Mhm.
I did, I actually found out as well quite easily. I wasn't really surprised. It just had too many hints for me. But as a tale of very quick, really quickish a read with a lot of action, it was easy to breeze through. Kind of Elf Quest ish kind of feel to
Huh.
them, because especially the guys with those kids look like that, because they elvish ears, and they kind of almost looks, they have that same look to them. So it has that vibe. I'm not sure why, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a very easy read, honestly, as I
Yeah.
say. I definitely would probably read that to my son, and I think because
That's
of the
wild
action
to think
scenes.
about a Jodorowsky story for kids.
I
That's
know, that's what I
seems
was thinking.
so
It's a bit too tame for me, but it's
yeah.
apparently maybe he just wanted to be
It's
relevant
awesome.
in that kind of age group as well. Maybe that's what
Yeah, yeah.
he was trying to do. Yeah, yeah. I was wanting a bit more, like more complex storytelling, but it's really, really kids concentrated book to read. So yeah, the magical twins, the humanized production. I really like the size. I really do. Like, I really find it absolutely,
Yeah.
in comparison to a comic, because of how much real estate you get more of. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that format is the best for sure.
Yeah, when you start reading like that, and I actually wanted to get one of the library had Lucky Luke story, which I really wanted
Uh-huh.
to get hold of it, because I wanted to read, because I wanted to like, I remember watching cartoons of Lucky Luke, so I knew about him quite a lot, and I
Mhm.
like cowboy storylines because of the. You clearly saw with me, if you have checked my video of me drawing Undertaker, which is what I've been like
Mm. Mhm.
really want more of, to read
Mhm.
stories like that, but I couldn't take it because apparently somebody would have requested it and it would have like really short timeline to read, so I just didn't pick it up. But this was second, humanized. I thought how I was curious to see how translations was going on, like, because I presume was French edition first, but I like the art. I think it's super, and like this cover looks really cool.
Mhm.
The bad guy and the two kids. Like nothing crazy about it, but it's just really well made package. Really, story is flowing really well. Yeah,
Yeah, it is nice there, AFPC. Just when,
yeah,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it
yeah.
looks
You
really
have
nice.
the
I mean, that's a humanoids book I've never heard of.
yeah,
But I'm with you. Like, it's amazing that your library has that stuff.
yeah.
Nice way to check it out. I'm not
Well,
familiar with that one.
as I say, my library is maybe doing reshuffling something else because
That's
before
great.
holidays, but I just hope they're not completely removing that from that library, because they would have everything new, and then I will be just stuck by like getting it online orders, because then I have to pay. But I like to go in the libraries the same like I like to go in the bookshops and get hold of an item rather than buying via online bookshop. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I kind it's it. There's a lot of it lately. Everything online, everything online. I just want. Yeah, humanoids didn't do. I mean, whatever I dabbled into it, maybe I was lucky on my picking in humanoids. I didn't
Mm.
really see many of the bad.
Feels like it's always worth a shot for sure. I think there
Yeah,
was one humanoid that was it the Tales of Jack or something like that that
yeah,
kind of left me a little cold, and I think that
mm,
was a humanoids book. But yeah, I
yeah.
mean, I think they're always worth looking into for sure. Hello,
I
420.
I like to promote library. Like I will, So talking about, so I was talking to one of the classmates' mother, and I was talking about library, and I was like, "What? You're taking your children to libraries?" And they're like, "No, I'd rather buy a book." I was
Mm,
like, "What? But there's libraries. You have safe space." My son
hmm.
now thinks it's a good thing because I've been taking him very often. There's a lot of like space where you can sit down, especially made
Yeah,
chairs for kids. Like somewhere where you can have, somewhere where you can teach them that, like not everything you have to purchase in order to be curious about. Just go
that's
explore,
right.
find out about it, see if you like it, and then if you want to start dabbling in investing money into something you want to read, go for it. But first, just go library. Like they are there for that reason. Oh, nice.
Yeah, both the kids we went all the time. They had a lot of good events for like little kids as well too. There was like a
Yeah.
story time once a week that we would
Yeah.
go to with Lillian when she was little. I went with Jaden when he was little a few times.
I think it's
They
great.
both, Lillian made a pretty good friend there, so we would kind of hang out with them, and it's great. Yeah,
I
funding
also,
at risk. Sorry to hear that, AFPC. Hope everything is okay there.
yeah, especially library like that.
Yeah.
I also teach my son to buy used, so we go charity shopping when it comes to book buying. So now
Hmm.
he's into Captain Underpants and Dogman
Hmm.
because he used to. It's hilarious there, so he
Because it's
absolutely loves
hilarious.
those.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah.
Exactly, so he loves it, and he always he was actually surprising. So he were my brain is circling, but he was reading a story about the booger man in Dogman. And I think the
Hmm.
first time, because there's so much boogers, he wasn't impressed with it. He was like, too much booger. Like, oh, I don't want it. It's like, really? Like, this should be your thing. You know what I mean? Even
Yeah.
he was like, too much. Like, kind of like weird. But, anyways, it's hilarious. And the Captain Underpants seems to be fantastic. So, and also we go library finding those books. But if we can find it in the cheap in charity shops, I always make a point of getting it. And he sees me doing it. It's like, so, charity shops in UK is quite a thing for, I mean, at least while I've been living in here, I always went to charity shops because it's just books like those, like for kids, they're £1 each. Like, so for one
Mm,
like dollar, Canadian dollar, imagine you find a book for your child. Of course it's good.
amazing. Yep, that's a
And then you
steal.
don't have to go buy like double, triple, or 5 times more because the same
Mhm.
book would be 5 times more in brand new. But then,
Yeah, they
as I
make
say,
their money off.
you can also, like somebody left it away, so you get hold of it. Plus, you support something, a good cause. So
Yep.
that's what I'm trying to do as well. So it's kind of a habit. So it's kind of comes into his play. Not only that is the toys you can for cheap, which is really good to buy, and
Hmm.
also, and I got like action figures. I got him an Iron Man for £1 with a lot of
Nice.
noises making. I was like, oh, I didn't realize this Iron Man make noise,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
but
yeah.
but he was happy.
Yeah, it's
That's kind of
awesome.
because the toys are, yes, I want to, but it doesn't mean you want it after like 10 minutes later. They just want it. It's just that habit of having it. So
Yeah, right.
yeah,
Yeah, got it. Or yeah, exactly. Privatization. Show your local
yeah,
library some love this week. Absolutely.
yes, go for it. Don't be afraid.
Um, so one that I read last night. So this is a local. This is a local artist.
Oh,
It's the newest issue
whoosh.
from the enigma called Silent T Comics. I don't know who this person is. I don't know if it's a young person. I don't know if it's an old person. I don't know if it's a man or if it's a woman. I think
Mhm,
now has 4 comics under their name, Silent T. This is the third one that I've got. Um, this one is probably my favorite issue that I've read so far.
uh-huh,
The style is amazing. I was reading a little bit on their Instagram, and it's all practical. So the
uh-huh,
Kickstarter for this book,
uh-huh,
there was some ways that you could fund it where you could get some original art. I think this was one of the pages where you could buy some original art.
wow,
So I would love to. I sent them a message on Instagram just to say how much I loved the book, and maybe
uh-huh,
there's a chance for a future canon interview. I'm hoping is what the goal is.
fine.
But this was so much fun. So it starts out kind of talking to the audience about this Silent T, and it's a mystery.
Uh-huh,
So you think it's talking about like the creator, but it's actually in this universe. There's this entity. There's this entity that is it's kind of it spawns this cult, and part of its followers look like this, and someone has kind of breached the ethics of the Silent T cult. So now there's punishment that goes on, and the first step of that is branding the tongue so they can't
oh
say the
my
letter
god.
T anymore. So every time this person talks, you can
Yeah,
see there's boxes where the T's would be. It's really and just the style
really
of
cool
art from
colors.
page to page is
Yeah,
so great. The colors are so great,
uh,
using everything from like crayons and
yeah,
pastels to some oil paints and things. but it really has that almost crayon and pastel look through the whole book, and I love it. And then you'll also get some stuff like this that looks like it's just ballpoint pen. So a real nice mixture of styles, that kind of sort of graffiti-ish type of style, but also very much a kind of Sienkiewicz, and just the
Yes.
busyness on the pages are fantastic. Always got to love a bit of booty. But it was a really entertaining book, like really kind of bridging that gap between
Oh, look at that.
yeah, talking to the audience and then doing something that's completely bizarre that you just don't expect. So I'm very, very excited about this book. I can't wait to see some more from Silent T. So I'll definitely be keeping an eye on Kickstarters going forward, just to kind of support it that way too. So, and the other one is it's 44 pages long. Obviously, because it's self-published, there's no advertisements, so you're getting 44 pages of comics all the way into the inside back cover. Yeah, and then a switch here to some black and white stuff too. Yeah, really, really entertaining. And there you go.
Oh,
that is the Silent T. That is the entity itself there, and its minions. Oh, there was also I've seen a lot of someone getting kicked in the balls scenes in my day, but never to the degree of this one, where you can sort of see the bulge moving upwards there. I thought that was hilarious. Really, really funny.
Right in the middle,
almost reminds me of like Sam Keith a little bit too,
yes,
like something from the Max kind of world. So such a cool style. I'm really hoping that they get back to me. I mean, we'll see on Instagram. It's always a bit of a crapshoot, because I'd love to know more about where they're coming from as far as art styles and what they've done in the past and things, because this is so good. And it's also one of those things that, this is my own kind of bias, but when I think of like local and indie comics, I have a certain style in my mind, right? That's just not as appealing to me personally. Stuff that looks kind of generic, because things that we've seen sometimes in Artist Alley at the convention, you have that pseudo kind of digital manga kind of look that just looks too clean, and it just is not appealing to me. So the fact that this is kind of a local is an extra that made me enjoy it all that much more. So
are you talking local because it's Canada, or are you talking Manitoba?
No, Winnipeg. Yeah, lives in Winnipeg. Lives in my city. Yeah. So I'm hoping that they get in touch with me.
Looks like you're inspired a lot by 90s, to be honest. It has that vibe to it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Canon is still going. Yep, the new issue comes out soon-ish. Looks like a fun book. Those lanky figures recall Shrub's Scud too. Absolutely. And keep your manga messy, kids. Yeah, absolutely. Too clean. It just turns out like there's so many kind of, again, my opinion, very bland kind of house style for some indie books, right? That is just not engaging whatsoever for me, you know.
You like your style, but they're not. Yeah. It's a uniqueness to it. But the thing is, what's funny with that book, there's lots of colors used, but all the style is all the same. So it's not really confusing you. I mean, it is telling the story with color. Maybe that's what its intention is. But sometimes when they use color, the art style sometimes kind of shifts. But that looks like to a T, like he has the right ideas of whatever the style is using, or he or she or it or you know, them.
Old, young, who knows? 10 years old, 50 years old, who the hell knows?
But it look very much 90s inspiration, though. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Has to. Okay, because I showed this one, I know you, Terence, weren't very impressed with this one, but I thoroughly liked it because it's very fast read, though. Maybe that's what you say about this book, which is lacked. But I still enjoyed it. So, have I understood properly that Rick Remender doesn't care about singles anymore? Because the money where he's making at is all collected editions. Is that what he was saying?
Is that true? Yeah, I'm not sure. If he said that, that's news to me. I've never heard that.
Because when that video,
that interview?
we were watching, the interview video he was doing. I'm not sure if that's what I'm trying to say, because I'm not sure because I came not from the beginning, so I'm not really sure if the message was the way but the way it felt like it, he was saying, Rick Remender saying, he's not getting enough money And the only thing what he does is he pays his artists from singles.
Yep.
And where his money is at is by collecting editions. But
Mm.
also he's griping about saying that he's investing in hardcovers, which is more time spent. And
Mhm.
like it's more money he's spending, but he wants his work to be standing out on the shelves, which is apparently where he's the most thing recognition gets. And apparently another book I don't really like reading, which is Low, and
Mm.
he said it's his best selling work
Yeah. Wow.
in
Wow.
in collected. So I was like,
That's surprising to me.
hey. Anyway, he wasn't dissing or anything, not that, but it's just the way he was describing the whole situation. He's saying there's a lot of rushed work going on everywhere else. Like he's talking about probably the big two, how uh, that he is saying that these days artist doesn't care that much about what they're just producing the work rather than craft, and
Yeah.
maybe he's a bit of old school, and that he thinks that you have to work at it. He looks up of other people where he like the old guys, the old school guys, where like your artists who took like they took a long time to create something, but it stands out. And like now, like we are collectors as a comic books, when we get those silver age comic books, you're like, oh my god, this like the artist is outstanding, like Jack Kirby, even though he was the quick artist, but still we keep on talking how amazing he was at what he was doing in that time. But so he always wants to support the artist, and he gets hold of them as many as like the good ones, like he kind of intel say that. And
Mhm.
also that sacrifices, if people don't know, they will give Lima artist from I forgot the name, Righteous Vengeance something, Secret of
Righteous
some.
thirst for vengeance. Yeah.
Yes, Thirst for Vengeance. So he's coming for 3 issues. We were like, oh, I didn't know, but he was mentioning in an interview that he's only for 3 because
Nice.
apparently 3 issues will give Max enough time to have rest. Also, another
Right.
thing I found out that Max's brother, who is Sebastian Furama,
Okay.
he's all digital,
Ah.
and Max is all natural. I don't know what
Right. Right.
like
Yeah.
what I mean.
No trim brush
Definitely.
is what you're saying.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. So he's got a piece of paper and pen. This it is.
Yeah.
So
Right.
he
Yeah.
says, and he's baffled by his own brother, saying, "I don't understand how he gets to this location, like how he actually manages to use all the digital to his own advantages." And he's like, his brain doesn't compute, even though they're siblings. It's kind of interesting. Both
Mhm.
artists, both in comic books, by the way. And more, I think Sebastian was more in that course. I saw him more work. He actually was helping Maxis as well in Ape Sapien. So we were working together
Oh yeah.
when he needed to
Right.
have a rest as well. Anyway, so that kind of details, which is kind of interesting. I like that
Yeah.
kind of interviews to get a bit more into the creator's mind and psyche, and
Totally.
and it was interesting. But this,
I think he's probably realizing how much work it goes in because this is under his giant generator
yeah,
imprint as well too, which I
yeah,
guess is like his production company
yeah,
and
yeah,
things
yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
And it's I think like a lot of people say it's like, listen, I'm into comics because I
yeah,
create comics because I like it, not because
yeah.
it's a money maker. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I
yeah, yeah.
actually
It's
enjoy
definitely,
doing it.
yeah, it's definitely have
He's
had
just not
that kind
making
of
money out of it.
vibes. But this
Yeah.
store, I really liked where Pigeon is going. Pigeon is
Mm,
becoming more and more my favorite character. Like
right.
you have him. This is what he's wearing now because he has. I like him and what his goal is, but he has that naivety to him.
Right.
Still not really clearly understanding his path. It's like thirst for something he's
Really,
now
I
bitter
think he
about.
thinks he clearly understands his path. Don't you think that he believes he knows exactly what he's supposed to do?
Because when they had confrontation between two of them, that god, water
Yeah.
god, and they had a conversation between two of them, I
Yeah.
have felt that he was trying, how dare you, he was like, I'm the god and you should listen. I did the favor, you have everything from me because I produced the water for you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like,
Mhm.
no, but I have this, like, I'm, like you, the dickheads, I was, I have this way. And it seems to be somebody's in Pigeon's head talking because
Mm.
we don't know where the powers he gained from. He just kind of suddenly got them,
Has his
like
power.
he did
Yeah.
the fury or the extra kind of. But somehow it felt like when he was beating the hell out of him, the god, they somehow had like a little bit hint of doubt in the way I was reading it. And that's why I kind of enjoyed it, because if it's just one way going, it would be quite boring. But I'm not
Mhm.
sure where the his character goes. But as far as he's going to take him, it's one of my favorite now. The pigeon has become
Mhm.
go pigeon basically. That's my
Yeah, yeah,
slogan
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
and
my issue
go
with
on.
this issue was that what I think he's done so well with this book that I've said every single issue is that
Yeah.
I personally don't know where the story is going to go. And
Uh
I've
huh.
loved that about the first 8 issues. I thought
Yeah.
this one, it was so like hit you over the head with the details of
Yeah.
like what his mission was, and these kind of like this belief system was really very, very upfront in this issue. And I found that for the rest of them, it hasn't been that kind of surface level. It hasn't been kind of spelled out for you. I felt that this one kind of fell down in that. Like I enjoyed it. It was just my least favorite of the series. I'm obviously
Mhm.
still getting it because I think it's a really
Yeah.
solid book. I just
Yeah.
found that this one spelled things out a little too much for me. Like it was
Mhm.
too much like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yes, okay, he's killing these gods. Yeah, okay. And the things that he's saying, I just found it a little too heavy-handed for me personally, and
Uh-huh.
especially contrasting what happened the first 8 issues where after every single issue, it would be like, where the fuck is this going? And then the
Uh-huh.
next issue, you see where it's going. It's like, holy crap, I didn't see that coming. Like, it's been so good at doing that for 8 issues. And again, maybe issue number 10 takes a complete left turn and I won't even expect it. But I really feel like this one spells it out pretty clearly what's going to happen in the
Mhm.
rest of the story. So I'm a little, and again, like we talked about before, I'm a little reluctant about, even if it's just 3 issues. Thank God it's only 3 issues. I'm just a little reluctant in switching artists, that kind
Yeah.
of thing to me, just especially with something like this. This isn't a
Yeah.
mainstream book that's going on 500 issues where you're going to have different artists. This is a
Mm.
limited-ish kind of series, I imagine, right? Where it's like, I don't know how I feel about that. So we'll see. Again, I could totally be wrong about all of it, but
That's
we'll
a
see.
taste of the artist Andre
Yeah.
Lima Rojo, the
Yeah, and there's nothing
Portuguese.
wrong with his art at all. Like I
Yeah.
love his art style. I
Yeah.
just now associate this book and this world with Fiumara. Like it's his world, so it's going to be odd going to another
Yeah.
style to
Yeah.
the same kind of
It's
stories. I mean, maybe they're doing like a prequel. Maybe they're going into the future. I
you
guess we'll
never know.
find out. It would be
Yeah. Yeah.
especially weird if it kind of continues from this point with just another artist for 3 issues.
Also their interview was giving me a little bit more vibes of saying how Max have to kind of tame Rick Remender's script a bit more. He's
Mm,
apparently Rick Remender has a lot to say, but
mm,
he's keep on chopping down quite a few things. He was talking about some of the issues where Max saying like, I mean, what do you think about this one? Maybe it's a bit too much, so he can basically script less. So it's less pages for Max to work through it and to
hmm
actually have a cohesive storytelling. And apparently he
right,
has so much things he wants to say in this book, and that's what he mentioned, what at least talked about, that sometimes he just needs to kind of, like lower the pace or maybe just make it less busy and stuff like that. That's at least the vibe I've heard from that interview.
right.
And is he talking about Napalm Lullaby? Is that the one he's talking about?
I'm not sure. I was going to ask you. I'm not sure. The bowling based superhero book. I don't know that one.
Oh.
AFPC.
Or the that starts with Scumbag. Is that the one? Our one? If you're
Maybe.
talking
Yeah.
about Scumbag, it's done and it's already in um, collected editions. Scumbag is, I think.
Holy
But if you
Rollers.
talk,
Yeah, it's not one that I'm reading. Holy Rollers. That name sounds
oh,
familiar, but I don't know it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I've not read it because I think it's not only him is doing that work. He's kind of together with somebody else. I don't
Oh,
think he's
okay.
the main writer. At least
Oh, I
that's
see.
where I
Okay.
have idea. But I might be very wrong, but that's
Yeah.
what I feel I have about that story. Because
Right.
he has Napalm Lullaby, which people are iffy about. At least what people I'm not even reading that because I didn't feel I needed that story kind of
Doesn't look
Superman
interesting to me
retelling.
whatsoever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't want it, so I didn't go for it. And Holy Roller and the Sacrifice, I think, is what, 3 books he's doing now, as far as I know.
hmm Well, and then don't forget
Oh yes,
Grommets.
the Grommet. Oh yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Which is
You
issue
you
number 2.
Yeah, and then did
And
you still like it?
I'm happy to say I still fucking love this book. It's
Oh
still
wow.
really funny. It's great, and it's a 7-issue series.
Oh, okay, good.
And I'm so in love with the art, and
Mm-hmm.
I love this book so much because there's a lot that I can kind of relate to in a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so, and it's genuinely funny. Like one of the hardest things, I've said it before, is humor in comics. I find is really difficult to
Mm-hmm.
kind of achieve. It's a difficult fucking thing. But I really, I love this book. The art is just gorgeous. It really has that
Yeah.
vintage Mad Magazine, Al
Mm-hmm.
Davis or whatever the names are. Blanking on names, of course, because as you said,
Yes.
we're live. But
Yeah.
that kind of classic style to it. In this one, we get introduced to a group of female skateboarders who are real badass.
Nice.
Where
Nice.
are they here?
We like
Yeah, here
that.
they are here. So we get the trio of them, and we get a little bit
Oh.
of backstory about one of them. That the rumor going around was she threw a party, her dad busted her and punched her in the face. She burned down the house and apparently killed him. So that's the rumor that's going around about them, and there's the three of them walking through the school. So
Whoa.
again, you know, just really really good stuff. And of course, he's madly in love with them because who wouldn't be? So they kind
Yeah.
of, you know, they make this new group of friends, right? So now it's there are our kind of small group of misfits are
Yeah.
getting more. So we also get this, and I have fond
Oh
memories of
wow.
doing this as well too, going through a parkade and skateboarding down the parkade, hoping you don't get hit by a car, either backing up or coming around a corner.
Wow.
Doing those when you start to wobble on your skateboard, feeling like you're out of control for a minute. So
Shit.
great stuff, super entertaining. 7 books. I'm there. I'm not going anywhere. So this
Oh,
is
that's
a lot
cool.
of fun. So if you don't know Grommets, check that one out for sure.
I will probably get hold of it later on then because it seems to be
Hmm.
entertaining. You liking it? Oh, so hold
Just
on.
googled the title, The Holy Roller. But yes,
Yeah,
that is Remender. Came across it in a dollar bin a bit ago.
yeah,
Yeah, it is period piece. So 85, I think, is what it says.
yeah. That one said
Yeah,
85 on that.
1985 is what it says there. It's great.
Yeah.
Really, really great. And the two creators, Rick Remender and Brian Posen, apparently it's stories from their youth. In the
Mhm.
first issue, the classic, this guy, one of the characters, does an absolute face plant and is all a bloody mess when his face comes up in the frame. And
Yeah.
apparently that's something that happened to Brian. Similar situation.
Oof.
So it seems very, very kind of real to their lives and just so entertaining. Really entertaining stuff.
Let's
So
say this way: poor mother to see the son like that
yeah,
in that
right.
condition. You know, jeez,
Yeah,
Louise.
yeah.
Because the recommender is well, at least I know that one of the artists I used to follow actually who created this T-shirt. So they're
Okay, yeah.
friends, and they were skating buddies from like skaters slash punk rocks, pop punk, and that's what they lifestyle used to be. So apparently they all have the same music kind of thing, media skating everywhere. So it's right up
Mhm,
his alley for sure if it's the right information.
mhm.
So I finally read this one, Helen of
Oh,
Winghorn,
sweet.
and
Nice.
I absolutely love Bilquis Everly's work. I think
It's
she is a
gorgeous, isn't it?
standout. I'm not sure. I'm still the jury's out for Tom King for me still because
Oh,
of
really, really?
I always do. I mean, it's just like like it's not always 100%. I'm not sure what I know now about the storyline as far as how far it will go, because
Yep.
this story was intriguing enough for me because they finally have sort of gave us information about that the journalist or the guy who was wanting to write about the
Mhm,
scene, like the original book writer, which is the father of the girl,
mhm.
and then that he passed away. I don't know how I missed that passing away thing, but they had
Yeah,
this like possession
that's why
thing.
she's where she is, because he's dead now,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And this is the like on the second pages, like first 2 pages of this like auctions and the post the picture, which but the cow is like okay, so that's where the Tom King is kind of iffy for me. So now he's talking about this really fondly about his partner who's passed away, and that's all his belongings. He doesn't know what to do with it. So he has an auctioneer comes into the house, and they're kind of having this conversation about, like what we're gonna do with this possession. He has this really kind of like scene set for what the guy would have wanted it, because he's not here anymore about this picture that he wanted to put it above the fireplaces, blah blah blah. And suddenly you have other thing, and he says like, not like, like, oh yeah, whatever, you're not gonna sell it, I'm just gonna put it in the bin. And you're like, huh? You just so fondly talks about his other belonging, like painting belonging, because it's worth the money. But then the other thing, you don't really give a damn, or maybe it's just the way it's written. It's supposed to be like that, maybe.
Mhm.
But just like
Mhm.
from hot to down to cold, like really quite quickly, like. So I'm just maybe I'm picking, let's just say it this way. But then the storytelling, what happened to her, finally we got it. And I really I really like the imagination. I like her panel choices. So busy panels. I mean, how much detail that the woman puts in the period.
It's a
Yeah,
beautiful book. Man.
yeah, it is stunning to look at. And
Yeah.
she is, of course, so excited to go through the door. Apparently, she hasn't been in the house for a month since they had to wait for a walk with her granddad to basically get to know each other once again. And then she has this
Go on an
crazy tale.
adventure,
Yeah, going on an adventure, crazy tale to tell what she experienced it. And of course, the governess, is that's what she is. She kind of felt like the girls are actually completely cuckoo and she's alcoholic, and do I really believe what she's been telling me, which is actually quite true, believable, because of the characters. But this imaginary world about the teeth thingy is kind of like really folklorish style of storytelling and whatever would happen to them, and almost like the witch and the wardrobe feel to it. I don't know if you still have that. I still
Oh yeah.
have that feel to this book. And this is quite interesting. The color scheme, by the way, used for this whatever imaginary world or true world, or whatever this world is, it's really cool to see. I mean, those happy colors. They actually having good moments drinking mead apparently, and she's absolutely getting plastered. And of course, her granddad can take any drink whatsoever, and nothing would happen to him. He actually can after like waking up and completely destroying the place down just because somebody didn't like what they were saying to him and all that stuff. So that was really entertaining. Honestly, it's really cool storytelling so far. I mean, I want to know what's happening still. I'm really more intrigued about the dad now more than ever. It's kind of graphically described his suicide, which I can remember. My family has the same kind of. My grandma did the same thing. So that kind of felt a little bit for me. Her first murder, we saw what she did. She thought she was not able to do so. Honestly, the pages. I sometimes the speech bubbles interrupting the beauty of this work, and it kind of annoys me a little. Of course, I want to know the storytelling, but her work kind of speaks for itself. But only sometimes I feel that her line work, because I know she does ink, feels a little bit too light in some places for me. Maybe it's the design part, but sometimes it feels like the lots of things can disappear in the background because it's so busy. And having the line weight sometimes helps to like concentrate your eye into what you were talking about. Let's say this composition line, but maybe I don't know. It's just the way I feel sometimes. It like there's a lots of so many details, but you have to like, for example, this scene, which is a significant part of the scene of the storytelling, yeah. And she's very prominent, but the background is quite dark-ish, and then everywhere else it feels like it's a little bit too tame. And I felt like we didn't really get much of it. Of course, it was just a little bit. I don't know how many issues he's going.
It's kind of like that P. Craig Russell kind of area.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Where
Yes.
it's real fantastical and real imagination, and like it's her and the colorists just do an unbelievable job. The colors are just fucking stunning on this book.
Yeah, and it's of course they have really good printer. It seems to be. It works really well on pages when they print. But it seems to be the buddies. They are both Bilquis and Mateus Lopez. I think they are friends, both Brazilian. I think they are working together, and they know.
Right. Yeah,
So
Charles
really
Best
cool.
as well, AFPC for sure. Yeah.
Um, I don't know how many. Do you know how many issues they were talking about? Is it
Not
like
sure. No
his
idea.
Happy
I don't
12
remember.
or
That
it's well
seems to be
known?
his magic number, right? Like he seems
Yeah,
to love the 12 issue series. So
yeah, yeah,
we'll
yeah, yeah.
see, you know. I mean,
But
I don't know how long it could
mhm.
maintain this level. I don't know if it could maintain it for 12 issues, but hey, man, prove
I
me
really
wrong.
like this back page.
Yeah,
Oh,
same.
it could be
Yeah,
a front page, basically, to be honest.
yeah,
And the significant part of this female. So is she a
yeah,
grandma? I think she's a grandma, isn't it? Or is she a
yeah.
mother?
That's right. Yeah,
So because she's kind of questioning that too. So I kind of question at the same time.
yeah.
But
Another
yeah,
book where someone looking back on their life and
yeah.
you know, this fantasy elements and this dealing with alcoholism in a family and
Oh, big
you
time.
know, going off on these adventures with her grandfather. Like I loved the other thing. I loved the beginning too, when because it feels like it's been a long time since the previous issue.
Yes.
So the character comes back and it's like, oh my god, I haven't seen you for so long. It really
Mm.
helped get me into that issue because, like, yeah, we haven't seen you for so long. What the hell have you been doing? I'm
Yeah.
so sold on this book. It's
Yes.
some of the most beautiful art I've seen in a comic for quite a while, and that's because of the colors. Like I can't get enough of this kind of turquoisey color in the
Yes.
background. I
I
just feel
love
like
it.
I've never seen that particular color in comics like done this way before.
Yes.
It's just such a treat to go through this beautiful page after page and just a little bit of humor in there, like really nice storytelling. I'm curious how all this kind of modern time autobiographical stuff is going to tie into it. I hope that it
Mhm.
starts to get a
Get
little bit
more. Yeah.
more because
Yeah.
it feels like I like it enough right now, but it feels like okay, what's the point of this? Where are we getting with all of this
Hmm.
stuff, right?
Yeah, he's like that's why I'm saying to you about Tom King's writing. Sometimes
Yeah,
he has a thread. He keeps on reminding you of that thread, but he doesn't really go through it for a very long time. So
yeah,
yes, I'm not trying to ask him to completely explain to me the background, but if you're introducing a character into storyline, give us something about the person so we have kind of sort
right,
of fair idea of what why you are wanting him there because there's something there we need to understand. And also, by the way, this first page screams Conan like big time. Like
yeah, absolutely, yeah, of
she
course,
definitely could draw
right.
Conan. Bill, I think she's more than capable of having those.
Well,
Bill,
and even that cover with that gigantic
yeah,
sword, that's very berserk like as well too. So
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it's definitely drawing on some genre tropes for sure, no doubt about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
it's very good.
AFPC is saying, I agree with him. I find the subculture of skateboarding is often poorly represented in comics, usually as a short form for youth or rebellion. But
Yes.
yeah, and I think that's the difference with this one is because it is from their history. There's way more authenticity to these first two issues of Grommets for sure. Jack, yo, hello, welcome.
Hello. 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 Hello.
There we go.
You go.
So maybe I'll talk about this one. So I did it. I
Oh no, you got
decided to
hold of
give
it.
it a shot.
The
I
price
grabbed
tag.
I grabbed issue one of Zatanna.
But okay. What bothers me is the price tag. How much you paid? $5.99.
Yes, $5.99 is what it says on the back there. Yeah, $5.99 American. So that's what, like $100 Canadian or something. So yeah, it's
But
you know,
another
it's a
thing,
$6.50 book or something like that, right?
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
But the bad thing I'll tell you now before you start talking about this book.
yep.
So it's next issue is the same price tag.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I'll just show you this.
Oh wow, that's just
Yeah,
such.
exactly. Right.
It looks like a paper
So I mean,
girls.
again, it's like it's I
Mhm.
don't have a lot of books on a pull list. So it's much easier these days for me to try something out. And as soon
Yeah.
as I saw this on the shelf, like the cover grabbed my attention. And
Yeah.
then when I flipped it open to pages like this, I was kind of instantly taken. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a no-brainer. I've got to give this a shot. It was
And
pretty enjoyable.
okay, good.
It wasn't, you know, it wasn't mind-blowing, but it was an interesting first issue, getting a little
Hmm.
bit of insight into her past when she was a kid, clearly dealings that she had with magic, caused
Oh wow.
some real disaster. And now she's an adult and she does tricks. She doesn't even use the word magic anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So now, of course, there's going to be something that happens in her world now that is she now has to confront her past and deal with her issues about magic. So it's far from mind-blowing storytelling. It's not the most original
Yes. Yeah.
idea by any sense of it, but honestly, I really enjoy this art, even
Uh-huh.
down to I love the use of not having it be a white page. It's this sort of yellowed.
Yeah.
Um, it
Background.
doesn't look like it's trying to mimic an old comic, which I
Mm-hmm.
also appreciate because I'm not a big fan of that look either. But I think
Mm-hmm.
it's a real nice alternative to a crisp white a white
Yeah.
page. So I kind of dug this one. I would get a
Oh.
second issue for sure. It was kind of
Oh.
fun.
I like
I'm
that
curious
page.
enough to see where it goes. But
Mm-hmm.
some really nice artwork, man, and just very bold colors. We're not
Yeah.
talking Helen of Windhorn style coloring in here. It's pretty kind of garish and in your face, but that's not a bad thing necessarily.
Yeah.
I dig it. Yeah, it was pretty good, man.
Yeah. I agree with
Like, look at
AFBC
this there.
about. Yeah.
That's a
Who's
good page,
colorist?
man. Good shit. Let's get the full credits here.
So yeah,
Oh, there we
Mariko,
go.
Javier, Lecter. Oh, he's doing it
Javier
then.
Rodriguez, drawn and colored by. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing it then. Interesting.
So yeah, pretty solid first issue. The price tag is the price tag on these books, and I hear you. It's fucking insane how expensive these books are. But
Yeah.
yeah, limited pull list makes it much easier to bite that bullet on these.
Ye-
And it's not one that I didn't put it on my pull list either. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
grab it on myself if I remember it. It's not one that I feel like I need to absolutely get the next issue. If I
Yeah.
remember it, and if it's a small week, I'll grab the second issue and give it a shot. But
It's funny how they put that black label on the books now lately. It's like, really? Is it black label book? Is it really just because it's obscure character you don't use that much? You put it on the black label
right.
banner, or is it because you would think black label would be more adult oriented storytelling, and with that
Mhm.
color scheme doesn't really entail, especially I don't know if the story was actually giving you that vibes. I don't think they were
It
from
wasn't
what
at
you're
all.
saying.
This could have been just
So
a regular DC title
yeah,
so far from the first issue. Like, we'll see where it goes. But this first issue, I don't know why this is Black Label. I have no idea. Because it's outside of the continuity of the characters, the
yeah,
only
that's what
thing,
I'm saying. Yeah,
and then it's like, I don't know, man. Why'd you get rid of Vertigo? Like, fuck this. Yeah, but
yeah,
whatever. So
uh-huh.
it's Black Label. It's a good cover stock. It's all of those things that people love to talk about. It doesn't, I don't feel like they're skimping on anything with that price tag. So that was
Uh-huh.
another good thing about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
pretty fun, entertaining, very quick read, but not horrible. Yep.
Because Mariko Tanaki doesn't, I don't know anything of her work that she
Not a name I
has.
know.
And no, I've read The Spinning, isn't it hers? Is it her? No. Yes. Or is it, oh, yeah. Oh, no, this one's, what? Yeah, this one summer is one of the books she's produced by herself with the help of one of the, but she has that like, girly kind of like spirit vibe of the storytelling, like really kind of happy or sad in a way.
Mm,
Like it's never overly graphic. What I'm trying to say because of that label they put on,
yep.
and I think that's just too silly for a company of that magnitude. Put everything on black label just because what
Yeah.
price tag? So you can increase the price tag now,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? Yeah, this one summer. Yeah,
Dark
that's the one.
whiteness of the gutters is a pure white should be the brightest point in alien
Yeah,
illustration and rarely appears in nature. Can really pull readers out of the narrative. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Tamaki wrote the excellent This One
Yeah,
Summer with her cousin Jennifer. Okay.
that's
Yeah.
the one I was talking about.
Yeah. Nice. There
Yeah.
you go. Yeah.
And I really like that storyline. It's like a smaller type of the book, and I think your daughter definitely would like reading that. It's a bit more, maybe,
Okay. Cool.
she's I think of the, that age kind of thing, but it's about the
She
girl
reads
going
so
on
much these
summer.
days. Yeah. Yeah.
She's going in the summer holidays. They, like this, of course, the relationship happens, and she's
Hmm.
not sure about that, la la la. But
Hmm.
it's really well told, this one. Gillian, yes.
Yeah. Jillian. Yeah.
Okay, mine one is of course I caught up with the crew,
Yeah. Sweet.
the final finally got hold of it. Actually, apparently, to my comic book guy who forgot to send me the books, he said I didn't even request this. I was like, really? How did they? Because I
What?
don't think
How is that possible?
I know, right? But it's not very regular. Sometimes it has this gap. I don't know what is going on, but sometimes I think it's just like it doesn't come out every month, or maybe it's just the way I my head. Um, um, and this one is, as always, as entertaining as it is. You have like a really simple storytelling, but to a point where all these guys, the security systems are going to go into get this supplies going, and they were afraid of the name of this guy with the crow, and they're guessing why this crow is circling around. And of course, because of the bad guy, he's using the crow as a spying method. And it's kind of surprising. It took how much time to describe the story, which I actually loved. But afterwards,
Mhm.
I was thinking, what happened to the cousin? And then, of course, they mentioned right at the end the cousins and cousin and his ordeal. Really like this the way they were trying, like they had this plan how to basically completely get rid of them. And those two guys who had a conversation about the general, like survival part, and the two friends, and they were having like, oh yeah, I love
So
you,
funny.
just the last two
Yeah,
words
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, and I stole your thingy. And it's like, don't worry, it's the last day. Like we're gonna die together. And suddenly, oh, I slept your wife, and you're like, oh, you bastard. So that was fantastic. So that was really good.
Yeah, really funny.
The thing is, what that's what I like about Stan Sakai. It has those moments where a lot of things happen, a lot of like ordeal, death, and the way he's telling and he's to his own advantages, it's just beautiful, and it's nothing blowing your socks off for sure, but just have a good vibe, even though of course a lot of
What's
death.
so funny? Yeah, I love
Yes,
that whole intro. I also love the callback to so later on in the story, you see them
yeah,
again,
yeah,
and they're walking by, and he
yeah.
says, "I'll be glad to get home and see my wife again." And the guy says, "Yeah, me too." It's just really just silly, like it's an obvious joke, but really
Yeah.
entertaining. I love that. I thought that was really well done.
All the good points, all the good points. There's some
Yeah,
like thing Usagi and how Usagi just like he agreed with the things. Like I'm not gonna leave, like I'm gonna leave, and his cousin will be surviving. But of course, that's not gonna happen because he's a Ronin and he's of course his cousin. He will take care of him. But it's kind of interesting the way he's taking Usagi to the kind of those elements where you always think that he's only one way thinking, like samurai work and the way of you thinking of a sword is kind of interesting, which I kind of forgotten about. That if you break your sword, then you break your base soul and stuff like that, and the only way is to survival is revenge and stuff like that kind of thing. But it's intriguing. Honestly, sometimes it's this kind of like reading is what I like about Usagi. And I don't know, it's just like every single time I pick it up, nothing bad. It's not blowing my socks off, but it's
no,
entertaining,
but
and
it's
it's
so good. It's
always
so good though.
yeah. You get whatever you wanted from this, like from A to B, and I never have a complaint about it. So
Mhm.
here you go. That's why I like it.
Well, it makes me think of like the comic strips, the Sunday strips, and the
Yeah.
daily newspaper strips and things. It's like it's just this idea of not every single one of those strips was mind blowing, but I
Hmm.
loved reading The Far Side every day. I loved it, or I loved reading the Peanut strip, or I loved reading Mother Goose and Grimm, or whatever it was we were reading. And it's
Yeah.
just it was the standard you could just go back to, and it was you knew the characters. There wasn't going to be anything hugely jarring with it. It's just that comfortable kind of reading. Yeah, I really like this issue. I'm enjoying this story arc actually. I enjoyed the beginnings of that previous one. I thought that the previous story arc kind of ended a little strangely, but this one
Yes.
I'm really liking it, and this is like 3 of 5. I saw just to kind of do a quick sidebar. I went to the flea market today, and I
Mhm.
saw the original 3 issue Space Usagi in a
Oh.
pack, but it was like priced at like $25 or something
Oh yeah, yeah,
insane.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
passed it up, but I held it in my hand for longer than I should have because I'm like, God damn, I'd like to
yeah,
have these, but it was just too much of a price tag.
yeah. But
Yeah,
you go.
I'm really digging this single issue following Usagi this way. I think it's a great time.
Yeah, it's also advertised that he's doing the turtles and Usagi again, and
Oh
that
yeah,
and that's like, oh no, don't do that to me. But I think I might just pass because
okay,
I saw last time I got hold of it. of the turtles, and and then I saw when he had it collected edition, and it looked really good as a collected. So I might have the turtle and Usagi. I don't. It's not here now. Could have sworn I've seen it in one of his. Where did I see it? Anyway, I've seen it somewhere. Oh, on the Instagram. Oh, sorry, I'm confusing the comic to Instagram because I follow him on Instagram as well. So he always shows off whatever his future work will be, and so
Right.
I'm gonna probably get because I'm waiting for this turtles from Jason Aaron, and that's all
Yes.
my turtles so far is concentrating on, and I don't want to even think about anything else. Like people have a headache of thinking about the X-Men, and I saw the amount of issues, what number one issue covers that Marvel came out for X-Men is absolutely ridiculous. I thought
Yeah.
they passed that, but no. God forbid you have like 25 covers for one issue or number one of X-Men. Because I hope we have a new creative team. It's gonna be so exciting again. I don't know. I don't find that Marvel
Yeah.
is as entertaining anymore to me
No,
anyways.
absolutely not. And it's, you're not going to get something that's really out of the path,
Oh,
right? Like it's still going to be the same
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
This guy specifically, just to this point, this guy specifically at this Mulvey flea market, he's got some good stuff. I always find some stuff there, but I find in general, all of his prices on everything are just kind of,
Yeah.
they're intense. Like I understand that things are out there online selling for certain prices. I get it. I don't fault you for wanting to get the most out of your sales. I totally get it. But I'm always of the thing of like, is your job to sell stuff or just sit with your collection? His
Yeah.
prices are crazy. He had some underground. He had a bunch of underground comics, most of them that I already had, but there was a couple of titles that I didn't have. And the price tag on him was like, well, no, I'm definitely not. Like he even had some air cell, like dirty air cell books for like $15 a piece. I'm like, man, people buy this in the dollar bin and they're passing it up, and you think you're going to get $15 for this? That I know I'm going to get an entertainment value out of it, but not for $15. If I pay $1, I would have picked it up. And it's also one of those things, even if he had some of those comics priced at like $2 or $5, I would have bought a few of them and you would have made some sales, but like the prices are just out of control. Yeah, really, really intense. And just to back to what he says about Ed Piskor's use of white, I thought of that as like it was a good gimmick as a one-off, but he kept doing it, and I didn't. It was just a little too much. I understood it, I guess, for a couple of the spots he was using. And I think when he was doing some X-Men stuff, it was like the Phoenix, and she was like bursting off the page and surrounded by like these energy waves. I thought something like that. It looked amazing. But I found that he used it quite a bit where it kind of lost that effect. It was really almost hard to look at the pages. It was a neat idea for sure, but yeah, I don't know how well it paid off. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, X-Men stuff is like I mean, I honestly now I don't know why, but I keep on maybe because I mean I am a fan of X-Men, but I've seen some like socials they showing the pages of the old comic, of the old original run, and honestly that makes me so excited. Like I always go back in to see my collection if I have that issue. I was like, shit, I don't have that one, and the price tags are increasing by the minute. It seems to be all
Right.
that the X-Men books like before, like a couple of years ago, I could have picked up like in hundreds of Uncanny X-Men original run for volume one. Single issue I could pick up like maybe £5 or even more a little bit if it's of course it depends on the condition of a comic book, but I was always go mid-range. That's the best range for me. And then but now it's like 25, 35 at pop, the one
Yeah.
issue. It's like, that's a lot of money. A lot.
Sure shit is, man.
Yeah, you have to remember there are lots of
That's all. That is also true. Hello, Forgerelli. Yeah, that is also true.
Cool.
There's just insane people out there for sure. And I mean, he must make some sales because he has enough money to get the booth at the flea market. And I think from what I'm hearing about that Mulvey one, the prices might be going up. I heard some of the retailers there kind of grumbling about it and potentially talking about looking for another place to go. So,
Oh,
yeah.
so yeah, yeah. And lots of like
It's
places
a
like,
tough gig, man. The flea market circuit, that's a tough gig.
uh,
Cutthroat.
do they pay rent basically for store?
They
Yes,
pay
I
rent,
presume.
yeah. And it's
Yeah,
one of
yeah.
those situations where I feel like my wife has been doing a lot of markets for her product and stuff recently, which has
Mm-hmm.
been good. She's been doing good, but I think for stuff like that or the small conventions or a flea market, it's like the people who are really making the money are the people that
Yeah.
are renting out space to these people for this
Yes.
flea market.
Yeah, yeah,
Those
yeah,
people, I
yeah.
think, are the ones that are really making the money. Everybody else is barely breaking even. I have a feeling because there's some people in there that I don't know how they're selling anything to be able to afford the spot, right? You're just not getting that kind of foot traffic in there. So
Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Yeah.
yeah, and that I just don't understand it not budging on their price. I guess, yeah, there's just this worry that things are going to skyrocket the minute you sell it for $5. The next day, it's like, oh my God, this is the most sought after thing. It's worth $200 now. And you're constantly in a state of kicking yourself for selling things too cheap, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Um,
Also
so
wanted
when
to.
we went on a road trip to Winkler and Morden this past week. My wife has her product that she has to pick up from Morden, Manitoba, and then
Mm-hmm.
Winkler, Manitoba is kind of right next door to it. Very kind of religious part of
Uh-oh.
the province here. Um, Not Hutterites, but I can never remember the terminology for the people that live there. Anyway, there's a lot of like we went into one thrift store and there was a section where it was run one free Bible per person, but you can only take one. So this is kind of like the town that it is. So we went to this used bookstore, and I was genuinely shocked at the kind of stuff that they had there. One of the things that they had there that I'm kind of halfway through reading,
Oh.
so when I think it was around 2012-ish, Fantagraphics did this compilation called Mome,
Mm-hmm.
um, and I think it went 20 issues or something around there. They had a copy of it for $3 in this
Wow.
used bookstore, which I was amazed at. And the other thing they had for another $3 was a Paul Pope, this battling boy
Oh,
soft
wow.
cover for $3 freaking. So those were the couple of things that I picked up. But this is great. I used to have a couple of issues of this anthology, not this particular one. Um, but it's kind of like what they're doing with what the hell is that new anthology called that they're doing? What the hell is it called?
I forgot.
Oh, shit, I can't remember now. The anthology comic Now is what they're doing.
Oh,
It's
yes,
sort of
yes.
it's sort of like that, right? So it's
Yeah.
a lot of artists doing kind of
Wow.
short pieces. Um, right out of the gate, we get Anders Nilsson, who did big questions and a bunch of other things. R. Kakuo Johnson does something here. Sophie Crumb is in this issue.
Oh, wow.
Robert Crumb's daughter. Sophie Crumb does a few things. There's an interview. Gary Groth does an interview in here. Gabrielle Bell, Jeffrey Brown, David B., Jonathan Bennett. So there's some really great stuff, and it's so far it's pretty entertaining. The one that's kind of caught my attention this time was, where is it here? There's the
Mm-hmm.
Sophie Crumb right here. Here it is. I'm loving this story, and this is called. Let me get the credits properly here. 221 Sycamore Avenue.
Mm-hmm.
John Pham, I think, is the artist's name. Pham. I'm really digging this. It's kind of
Oh,
landscape. It's this kind of day-to-day life. It has kind of some no-brow comics kind of feel to it. And one of the surprises, which you see as the thumbnail for this one, is there is a character named Terrence, and they even spell it the right way as far as I'm concerned. So it was a pretty entertaining little strip just for, I love the colors on it. So it's classic kind of anthology. There's some really good stuff. This Arkuo Johnson one is really great too. Talking about John James Audubon and kind of his kind of infamous
mm-hmm.
nature drawings and
Wow.
animal drawings, and
Yeah.
how he went about doing that and the amount of animals that he killed to kind of get
Oh,
these
wow.
poses so he could do these real detailed drawings of them and stuff. So real good, a real good strip there. Nice to see Sophie Crumb, even though her style isn't the same as her dad's. Like it's you can't mistake it for anybody else. She has that kind of crumb personality to her artwork. There's something there that screams that family name. So that was entertaining as well too. So yeah, I'm looking forward to digging through the rest of this, just because of just the variety you get in these Fantagraphics anthologies. Even though Now has kind of left me cold, for the most part, there's been some standouts for sure, but I don't think I've yet to read an issue of Now that is completely blown me away from cover to cover.
Mhm.
I like some of like these New York independent artists and things that I'm seeing out there. That kind
Yeah.
of stuff excites me a lot more than sometimes this style of independent anthology, you know. But
Yeah.
some good looking stuff throughout this book. So yeah, issue of Mome.
No, like, we recommend you a book called Fam's Epoxy Series.
Sorry, say that again.
No, I'm just reading what you just put on the big screen.
Yeah, Fam's Epoxy series, great stuff. Yeah, Fam the Rizzo King, is that true? Hey,
Mm.
let's see. Mome is probably Fanta's best anthology ever. I'm working on getting all of their different anthologies. 00 is the real tough one to track down. Yes, I've only seen 00 in videos, I think. Yeah, there you go. Mome, the precursor to Now. Infinitely better production values on that there, Mome. Nice. Battling Boys, great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading it. Looking forward to digging into that one, see some Paul Pope stuff. So
Ooh, that's a good thing.
yeah.
I already looked at while you were talking. I was looking in my library, so I put a reservation on that Battling Boy by Paul Pope
Mm, hmm
to
Oh, they
see.
have it at the library.
Mm.
Yeah, sweet.
So so hopefully I will receive it in. Doesn't matter. It's Paul Pope.
Yeah, I'm curious to read it. Yeah,
Mm.
be neat to see what he's got going on this one.
Yeah,
It's a pretty thick book, and it's first second as well too. And I was
yeah,
saying
yeah,
to my wife, because as we were walking out, I saw the first second on another
yeah,
book.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean THB for sure, but that's really hard to find, that Paul Pope THB stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, I hear that that's kind of the peak Pope.
yeah,
As we were leaving, I saw another book from First Second, and it's a company that always catches my attention because
yeah.
the few that we read from First Second, me and my daughter, have been really, really good. And generally, there's a lot of stuff at First Second that's really good for us to read together because
Mhm.
they're not fully adults, but they're not also purely kid stories either, right? So we've had some
So
success with First Second.
that Mariko Tanaki book we were talking about this one summer is published by Fifth.
Okay. Well, there you go.
So
Even
yeah,
more of reason for us to check it out then.
you see, and okay,
Yeah.
this is my last one. Once again, I'm
Okay.
doing the
Oh,
facsimiles.
nice.
So finally read it, the first appearance of Moon Knight, and honestly, I got hooked, and I was like, okay, let me see what how much is the 33 original one. It was like $50. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to read that. It's very difficult to get hold of the collected editions of that, of course, because people are speculating and all enjoying the Moon Knights. So it's a cutthroat comic book, and the creators of Doc Munch, how you pronounce that name, and of course, artist is Doc Perlin, plus Howie Perlin. So I guess the maybe brothers worked on this. We all start straight away at the scene of the fight where Werewolf has been attacked by the Moon Knight. I don't know if I enjoy this kind of like reprinting thing. If like very looks sleek, even though I know Omnibus does almost the same type of the reprinting work. Hello, Donald. And then, but I enjoyed it. Honestly, I got into it straight away. I was intrigued about this first appearance or the characters. I always wanted to read Werewolf by Night, as I say beforehand, but never were kind of like get on the right time. Now it seems to be every single issue is quite priced up higher. And the story goes where Werewolf is being hunted because of how he's dealing. He actually almost to a verge. I'm not sure how his friend will he or when he die. he basically attacked him while he was in that state of werewolf. And he's blaming the moon, of course. Is not really aware because he seems to be lapsing in memory while he's in the state of animal. So when he wakes up, kind of gets his things going to, like, he hides away some of this clothing. He puts dress ups, waits for his friend, apparently the friend who actually basically got mauled by him, waiting for him to be picked up, not knowing. He walks back home, finds out that he is the one to blame. He gets really kind of like scared and petrified because blames himself and everybody around them. Apparently his family also is really behind it, and all of them are aware of the situation. So I don't know how his friend came to be in that particular spot. It kind of didn't explain in this one single issue. But in generally, honestly, I could read more. So that's why I was looking for issue 33 to basically have a continuation of or end of a storyline. So these two issues are kind of tells the whole thing. But yeah, True Believers, yes. Replace the inventory. Yeah, facsimiles are all over the place. They are priced up nicely as well, but they're going on sale. Get them on sale. I bet you're going to find them in bins for sure if you are having enough of those
Oh
comic
yeah,
book
I
shops
don't doubt it
around.
because they
And
probably printed a boatload of those, right?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the Moon Knight and the kind of like Spectre's idea, what he is, not really disclosed, but he of course working for a bad guy who gives him a chunk of money in order to kill the werewolf because they're not happy with him. As I say, I don't have. They're not really explaining the details behind why they want him. I guess it's what they want to explore his powers and get kind of like make him manipulate him to their own advantages. But like your typical time frame of writing the scenes, I really kind of like helicopter riding. It's actually really fantastic, to be honest. And yes, so we have all the ads in it, and it's like the comic book you would have, but not really the same feel to it. But yeah, it's really entertaining. A lot of question marks, but honestly, as I say, I could definitely read more of this. And now I kind of have a taste for it. Might look for like not the hardcovers or something, some sort of like Epic. I bet Epic have it, but I don't know. I know all the Moon Knight, wherever it comes to the Moon Knight, it's kind of been on a selling higher point level because of TV show probably will be coming out. I think Marvel already has announced that they are doing the second season of Moon Knight. As far as wherever I've seen through the media. But yeah, it's fantastic, and how Werewolf didn't really have a chance with Moon Knight because he's basically got like shut up, and he like punched him in his head, so he comes like completely black out, and he's just taking him
Fucked him up good.
yeah, and telling the people who is basically witnessing the scenes, and there's the coppers about to come and pick them up. It's like almost telling them to move aside. I'm dealing here. I need my money. So it's kind of a bit of a dick, honestly, in the way Mark Spector is introduced in here. But yeah, really cool. One of the, let's say, I always wanted to get hold of this because of the character's intrigue, and I read several other newer versions of Mark Spector for sure. I read what is his name now? I'm blanking the name of the artist I really like. You like it as well. Oh, come on. No, I can't think of it.
Hulk.
Anyway, huh? What?
Hulk.
No, the artist.
I don't know.
He done the Human Target. What is his name?
Oh, Smallwood.
Yes, so he did the Moon Knight series for Marvel. Smallwood
Ah.
art. I think. Am I second guessing now? Who's guys?
Yeah. He may have. I don't know actually. I'm not
Yeah.
really
Anyway,
sure.
it doesn't matter. So there was quite a few intriguing volumes of Moon Knight
Mm-hmm.
coming out, and there's lots of it actually. I think Moon Knight has been plastered in Marvel now since those TV shows announcements and all that stuff.
Early days of YouTube, there was a couple of people that talked about a couple of different Moon Knight. Mr. CDC, I think he was talking about one of the Moon Knight series and saying it was pretty good. So yeah, there was a couple of that floating around back then.
Yeah. So I say, yeah. But as far as this facsimile is, if you can get hold of it cheap, get hold of it. Is nothing. It definitely got intriguing I mean, it's just storytelling of that time, but it really works.
Yeah.
And I'm more intrigued by Werewolf than Moon Knight because the way he was represented in this one is like kind of
Right.
dickish type of like, yeah, I want money, nothing I care about, not people surrounding me, not nothing. It's just I
Mhm.
want, I want my cash and I'll do the job. And he was like, stay down, kind of shouting at the werewolf, like, stay down. It's like was flinging those half crescent things at him, like
Mhm.
almost like no wonder
Just
they were
batarang.
calling,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
no wonder they call him a Batty 2.0 or whatever. But yeah, this is entertaining for sure. I definitely could read more, but they don't
Yeah.
have facsimile edition of 33, which I could probably
Yeah,
go
right.
for sure.
Yeah, there's got to be a collection though, hey?
No, there's definitely omnibuses out. I for sure know that, but they are whales, as they call them, because they're priced outrageously, like a
Mhm.
hundred something a pop. Um, and I don't know if there was an epic edition, but I presume they would have if it just to make more money. So yeah, but it's really like I was saying, I was going to read this one, and those facsimiles are really good to read. Like you can
Mhm.
toss them around. You can even show to my son. Don't really regard, it's a facsimile for
Yeah,
God's
yeah.
sake. You can do whatever. But
Trash it. Yeah.
yeah, but if it would be, like first appearance, you will be like a little bit more careful to reading that. But
Yeah.
honestly, the flavor is still not the same when you have a reprinted edition or you're reading an original. And I can swear to that for sure. I thoroughly
Right.
enjoy more originally printed than that. Like
Yeah,
100
right,
times
right.
probably more. It will sink in
Yeah.
more because the paper, the smell, we're addicted to that things as a collectors. If you are collecting comic books, you'll know what I'm
Well,
talking
and
about.
the other thing is it never looked like that when it first came out. Like it just never did.
No, it's
That's
too
something
sleek.
I don't remember who I've heard say that. Somebody had said it on YouTube. The idea of like sometimes these facsimiles, like, well, this is just kind of what it would have looked like when it came out originally. It's like, no, it's not.
No,
There's no way they had that crisp of white paper and those vibrant of colors. There's no fucking way in hell that that's what it looked like when it first came out.
now the
So yeah.
DC coming out with some of the reprints, also facsimiles, you would call them. I don't know if they call them the same thing, but they
Mhm.
use newspaper print, which makes
Mm.
a huge difference. It's
Yeah,
not
right.
the biggest difference, but it makes difference. It feels
Yeah.
a bit more authentic. But when you
Yeah,
use
yeah.
this, like Marvel using the sleek paper, it doesn't have the same feeling. It doesn't have the same vibe to the comic book, especially of the age it's supposed to represent. It doesn't really, but because of the printing paper.
I cannot wait. And no, I shit the bed on making sure that I ordered it. So I'm gonna have to reach out to the
Uh-oh.
shop, or I may have already done it on my League of Comic Geeks. I don't remember, but I cannot wait for that. That's the Joe Matt issue that has been promised for years and years and years by Joe himself, and he's now gone. And now Fantagraphics is putting out finally Peep Show number 15. I cannot wait
So
for that. That's going to
is
be
this the last
fantastic.
issue it's supposed to come out
Yeah, the
with?
last issue that he'd been working on for the longest time and
Now he
procrastinated
passed.
and never did it, and was just too lazy. I can't wait. It's gonna be a good one. Hello, Dan. My wife loves scented candles. I wish they had one that was old comic scent. Yeah, absolutely. Just burn some of your old comics, Dan, just to get that
Hey,
natural,
hey, hey, hey! Excuse
natural
me.
aroma. Burn your
Well,
superhero comics.
yeah. Oh, there you go. No, it's yeah, those non-covered ones. Burn those, but don't.
Yeah. Nah, just that plastic that they're encased in, that'll melt. Don't worry about it. Burn those too. It'll all melt. It'll all go the way of the dinosaur. It'll all melt.
I seen somebody who was getting hold of it, a CBS old version slab,
Mhm.
and he basically was able to push fingers through it. So the
Mm.
whole idea of encasing the comic book is to preserve the
Yeah,
condition of it.
yeah,
And
right.
the guy is like, look at this shit. It's like you can poke your fingers through. It's like, yeah, that's
Hilarious.
definitely very encased.
Yeah, totally. Yeah,
But that's another cup of tea for other people. I still have one. Look at that
yeah,
one.
yeah.
You see that's Preacher number one. Still
Oh,
bloody
nice.
case. It's still in case. I don't know why I'm keeping it. Basically, I want to display it. It looks okay. It's fine. Like one of my favorite series. Damn crazy,
Yeah,
but Yeah.
Yes,
No,
inhale the fumes, inhale them deep. Is the
no,
new
it's not.
52 old enough to burn?
No,
I don't know if it's old enough to burn. Yeah, I think you gotta go at least 80s, you know.
no, you can't have the same to smell because the paper is not used the same way. So
That's right. That's good. That's a
you,
very good point. If you
yeah,
want to inhale those
yeah.
OG fumes to really bring you back nostalgia, that's
It's
like
almost
the
yeah.
Watchmen's nostalgia. It's just
It's
a fumes of old comics.
it's almost the same as you have the asbestos
Yeah,
roof
right. Yeah, that's
or not. Doesn't
yeah,
do two very different things.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
But no, yeah, it's funny. I would be
Um,
scented candle. Yeah, I don't have any more. This is my last read. So
I
if
don't,
you have
yeah,
something
and
else,
it's the few things that I have left, I don't really have too much to say about. I
oh
finally
yeah,
finished Superman Space Age #3, so it was only
and
a 3-issue miniseries, and I've read this story much better from other people, right? Like there was a lot
oh,
of like all-star Superman kind of ideas in here. There was New
uh-huh.
Frontier ideas. The only reason to buy this is if you like Mike Allred's art, which I happen to love.
Mm.
And that was like it wasn't a bad story, um, but it just wasn't anything. Yeah, more like All Dead. It wasn't a bad story. It's just again like I've read this story done way better by other creators, right? So there was really nothing in it for me that kind of I like the Batman, whatever that new one is called. I'm liking that one a little more. The Dark Ages is what that one's called. I'm liking that one more than this one. I'm glad I got them. It was fun enough to read, but honestly, unless you find it in like a dollar bin, I don't know if
Yeah,
it's necessary to kind of go out and pick this one up unless you're a huge
older
Superman
fan.
stan, as the kids say.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah. What else did I have? I had
Mhm.
Washed in the Blood #3 came out,
Oh,
and I'm just as confused by the end of I think this is the end of it as well too, which is even more
uh-huh.
confusing to me. I don't really know what this book was. There is a
Mhm.
podcast with these guys, and I keep meaning to watch it, and I never do. So I've really got to watch that or listen to it or whatever, to kind of get a sense of what the fuck this book was. It was bizarre to say the least. I enjoyed the art, but I don't know what the hell that story was about.
You know
I
this.
oh,
Oh yeah.
sorry. Go on. Yeah,
You
go
know the
ahead.
space Superman Space Sage. Didn't you get Batman whatever Dark Age? Is that
Yeah,
already as
Batman
well?
Dark Age. Yeah,
And
same creator.
and is it better? The
I
Batman
think I think
in
it's better.
comparison.
I mean,
Ah,
I'm
okay,
enjoying it. I'm enjoying it more than I did the
okay.
Superman one,
Sorry, I
because I
interrupted.
think the thing that I like about the Batman one is that it's this it's an older Bruce Wayne not remembering his life, quote
Ah, yes,
unquote,
yes, yes,
properly, and kind
yes.
of remembering things that didn't actually happen. Whereas this one is almost
So
like this Superman is almost like an Elseworlds kind of tale, with
uh,
Superman in it, which
uh,
is if it's a fine enough idea. It's just yeah, it's just been done before. But
so
Dark Age, I mean, it's probably one that you can wait for a trade.
yeah,
Um,
so
it's one
intriguing.
you can wait for a trade for. It's not necessary to pick up the individual issues.
Okay, talking about Batman, just before you go to Turtle
Yep.
Run, did you hear or seen the trailer of the new Batman animated series?
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, I like the
Is it
voice. I don't know who he is, but I like the voice they picked for new Batman. Now it's a big
a
thing because
new
you know the guy.
series? What the fuck, dude?
Mm-hmm. Did you not see
When
it
does this come out?
recently? I mean, because they announced that
Oh, it's out
the
already.
yeah. Oh, is it?
No, I'm asking you. That was a question.
No.
It's
I've
out
only
already.
seen I only seen a trailer. I don't think I've even
Oh,
seen
I see.
the dates. But what they were announcing that they have a new voice for Batman animated because
Right.
the guy died. Yes, the what's the name? Oh my god, I don't know the names. His life, I don't remember. I probably remember afterwards. But you know the original voice of Batman.
Right.
The guy died. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
think it's cancer or something. So
Yeah. A
they
couple of
found a
years
new
ago at this point. Yeah.
yeah, they found a new
Definitely.
voice now. And the
Nice.
Batman on that trailer, they're using the Caped Crusaders ears of Batman. Looks the one I like. You know the old
Mm.
school. Oh, hello, Chaos. Um,
Hello,
the
Chaos Comic.
old school vibe of the batty kind of ears. So I really like that. It looks quite
Yep.
dark as well. Because I say it's just a trailer. I don't know why I don't really watch trailers, by the way. But I watched it and I really liked it. I really liked the
Mhm.
way the vibe of it looked a bit more darker, more grittier,
Yeah.
and they calling it something else, not Batman something. I don't remember what they called it. But anyway, have a look. You probably type
Yeah.
in and you'll get hold of it straight away. You will blast
Yeah.
it.
Something will come
Oh,
up. I
it's
typed
on
it in there, and
YouTube.
everything that comes up is the
Yeah,
old stuff. I'll
yeah,
find it.
it's on YouTube anyway. So just talking about
Yeah.
the
Cool.
Batman, I thought I will mention this. Yep.
Yeah.
Go,
Sweet.
go turtles.
Um. Yeah. Again, nothing much to say. I'm back into kind of that first volume, right? So
Oh,
this
lucky you
was
find
issue
them.
number 16 and 13. And they were great. Of course they were, because it's that era of turtles, and I'm just back into. I really want to make it a mission to kind of try
Yeah.
my best to complete this run this year. I would love to get to as far as I can go. I know that that's a lot, but I feel like I've got a really good chunk of them at this point. I love it. I just really love it, and it makes me more excited for whatever Jason Aaron has coming. Like you, I'm just really curious to see
Yeah.
what he's
I,
gonna do. So these were super
I
fun to read.
saw a third printing number issue 3 on eBay and it went for grand.
Oh
Something
yeah,
like that. Yeah. So the
for
issue
so
3.
first printing of issue number 3, and it was
Third.
$1,000.
Third
Oh, third. Okay, third. Okay,
printed.
yeah.
Not even third. So I don't know. I know the first printed number 1 is goes for 25 grand. Am
Yeah,
I
right,
correct?
right.
Something like that. So there's a lot like there's I think the issues number 1 to 4 had several printings of them. I don't remember how many,
Uh-huh.
but even the third printed one is that much money. So like,
Right.
wow,
Um,
wowza, wowza.
I don't know if Forgerelli is still here, but I haven't read this because I just picked this up this afternoon. This is the
Yeah.
one thing I couldn't pass up from the flea
Mm-hmm.
market. I've never seen this before. And I was kind of stunned
Yeah.
by this. R. Crumb's
Oh,
Carload O Comics.
what the
It's the
hell is that?
creme de la crumb, and it's
Oh
this
my
kind
god.
of thicker, square bound, hundreds
Okay,
of pages, 170 something pages
show it.
of just pure crumb comics. I
Whoa!
cannot. It's
Look at
beautiful. It's in beautiful condition. It's in beautiful shape.
that.
I cannot wait
Oh my
to
god.
dig into this one. I've never heard of this one. I've
Yeah.
never seen it before. I love that he did this kind of square bound collection. It really reminds me of kind of stuff that you would get of like 50s comics or something. I've got this jumbo comics collection of 50s reprints, and it's a bigger size, but same kind of deal. I was pretty stoked to find this one. It cost me, I think, 25 bucks. But
Hmm.
honestly, I feel like that was worth it because I've never seen this around. And of course, everybody in the comments, yeah, Forgerelli, you are still here. You have the hardcover. That's amazing. Yeah, AFPC has that collection. I'm really looking forward to digging into this one. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Even just based on like the back cover. It's just I'm not the number one
Whoa!
fan by any stretch, but I do appreciate his art, and I've always loved his art. But this is that cover just blows me away. I love that illustration, that little car of his weirdos hanging out in there. Really, really great stuff. Signed and numbered
Yeah.
hardcover, number 15 out of 300.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man, that's amazing. If anybody watched the conversation with Forgerelli and Earl Grey, you can see in the background of Forgerelli's screen there, he's got a bunch of Crumb sketchbooks. He's got them all at -2, I think he was saying in there. So yeah, we need more Forgerelli videos, I think. So
Yeah.
make sure that you subscribe, because eventually he's going to do all sorts of videos for us. It's going to be great.
What?
$2 in 2010 from a born again Christian's yard sale. And exercise the demons. Well, you did the Lord's work there. I'm glad that you were there to rescue that filth from. They must have been relieved to see it go,
I looked on it
and amazed that you paid $2 for it. They were probably like, "What a sucker!"
I looked on eBay on this part of the pond, and only French editions there's available. not English versions, of course.
Right.
Yeah.
And are they pricey or are they
Yeah,
cheap?
one is 200.
Oh wow. Is
But
that the
it's like,
hardcover one?
yeah,
Soft
yeah,
cover.
yeah, yeah, the hardcover one.
Hardcover, yeah.
Yeah, well, let me see if I.
4
Oh, it's
different versions of the Drum sketchbooks. I'm a ridiculous collector. Hey man, we all are. Don't even sweat it.
yeah.
You're with your people. We're all ridiculous collectors. That's how we roll. Yeah.
Yeah. But if you luck out like AFPC did it, then yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there is always available apparently.
Totally.
But when you don't hunt, it becomes so far distance away.
Yeah.
And it's stupidity
Well,
of
and the thing
eBay.
for this one, it was an instant buy. As soon as I saw it, I pulled it out of the bin and grabbed it because, like I said,
Yeah.
I've never seen it around before. It's something like I feel like I see a lot of underground comics over my
Mhm.
life. I've just never seen this one ever, so it felt like I can't pass it up. The guy was saying, yeah, he wanted to keep it. I'm like, well, shouldn't have put it in the bin then because I'm here and it's mine now. So yeah.
How much did you fork out?
I
A
think it
bit?
was 25 bucks Canadian, which,
Yeah, okay.
again, for something that I've never seen, I didn't mind spending that on him. I'm sure that he had it priced too high because that's just his booth, but
Yeah.
I figured I'd bite the bullet on that one. So,
Oh, well, there you go.
oh, we had a couple of copies of Birdland burning a shame hole in his psyche that I scooped up. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's about it for me.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I do have this, but I haven't read it yet. I did pick up that second issue of Black,
Oh,
White, and
did
Green,
you? Oh,
but
wow.
but I didn't read it yet. So it's been sitting here since I got it, which
Jesus,
was
shut
now a
up.
couple of weeks ago. So I'm not sure.
All these people.
This is before.
Going.
It must have been before Jesus made an appearance in his life. There, chaos. That must have been, and he had to repent. I'm surprised he didn't just throw it all in the trash instead of trying to make some money off of it.
Or made it scented candles like we were talking
Yeah, right, right.
about. Oh,
Yeah, Johnny Ryan is quite a character. Fuck my son comic. Ryan has got to be the sickest comic creator ever.
okay. I
He's
don't
uh,
want.
he's a character. He's pure filth.
Oh, is it?
Um,
Okay. Have you showed
all
that?
right. Well,
Have you showed any
yeah.
of those Johnny Ryan book in your video?
I had some Angry Youth comics.
Okay.
I think I've got Prison Pit somewhere, or unless I traded it, I don't know.
Uh
Stuff
oh.
comes in and out of here sometimes. That I have had some Johnny Ryan stuff in the past, though.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've all been pretty funny because they're just so over the top offensive, like so offensive that it then kind of cycles back to being just absurd, because it's just so over the top. I don't know how anyone could take his stuff serious, to
Uh,
actually get offended by it. I don't know how you could ever have that happen
so
in the real
so
world.
so his comic books are under the table. Yes, you have to know the name. You ask what the title
No,
was.
Fantagraphics has put out collections of his stuff, and I think
Oh, okay.
Angry Youth Comics was coming out in single issues from
Uh-huh.
Fantagraphics. All his
Mhm.
stuff has been collected. He worked with Dave Cooper on
Oh.
a TV show, that Cow Pig Banana Chicken or whatever the hell it was called. So they did a kids show basically that is pretty entertaining. It's like
Oh,
Ren and
oh my god.
Stimpy, a little more silly and kind of stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been around. He's also good friends with the frog meme guy, the
Oh,
boy's life or whatever that creator is, the guy whose
yeah.
frog character now is like a right-wing symbol of power, whatever that character, that artist name is. They're really good friends, and he's friends with like Skinner and that kind of crew of people. So
I see.
hell,
Okay.
someone in the chat will say the name of the creator whose name I'm blanking on.
Hmm.
The documentary was Feels Good Man. Fury, Matt. Yeah, Fury. That's right. Yeah. I
I
laughed
laughed.
out loud at a girl burning in a stove. I'm sick too. Yeah. Matt Fury. Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Okay. We all remember because they're not talking live.
That's right.
I wonder when
I
you do
remember.
live where you remember your memories as good as that you think.
Oh yeah, Fat
Rules.
Cop. That's right. That's his newest one. Yeah. Enjoyed his
No.
most recent Fat Cop immensely. Was in pain from laughing. That's awesome. That's good to
Oh,
hear.
I'm going to do this setting.
Right on,
Okay.
everybody. We got to get rolling because I got to go pick up the family. Go ahead. What do you got?
The question is coming out in DC comic books if people are interested. is coming back.
Yeah.
The old creative team is doing it.
Oh yeah.
Robinson, writer. I don't remember the name again. But anyway,
Is
the
it going to be
question.
a Black Label release or is it DC proper?
Poof, it's a guess as good as mine. I just heard that they're doing new, like, so it seems like they're bringing the old characters up, like the ones they shelved it for a really long time and they come back again.
Mhm.
Like the question has been sort of around and about in DC universe, but
Yeah.
they seems to be more like now actually their own book is coming out. Like Zatanna has their own book for now,
hmm
but then
hmm
the question now it seems to be another announcement they have made. So,
Yeah, yeah.
oh my god.
Hey man, they've got to cash in on. They just keep going generation to generation to see what's going to hit, so they can make some
Yeah.
money. It feels like.
I never seen anybody showing those little edition, like epic sort of edition from DC they're gonna do.
Oh yeah,
They are
yeah, yeah.
the smaller
Yes,
version. I wanted to see a video, but nobody seems to be showing yet.
I
At
think I
least I'm
saw one in
seeing.
person. Did I
Yeah.
see? Did I see a Watchmen in person? I don't remember, but it's a
How
strange format.
tiny? Is it tiny?
Yeah,
Like
no, not it. I don't remember it being super tiny. It's
yeah,
smaller than a graphic novel for sure. I just
yeah.
remember thinking that it's an odd choice. I guess it's the price point that they're going
Mm-hmm.
for
Yeah,
because it's
yeah.
going to be a little more affordable to do the classics. But to me, it really feels like that selling old rope kind of thing. It's like these titles that are out there in abundance. You're now putting them out in another format to try to
Oh yeah,
cash
yeah.
in.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
I just
the
I
Watchmen,
don't really understand.
the Watchmen is the part of the agreement. If they don't put out something out new, then the contract
Oh,
expires. So of course they're gonna
that's
do
right.
that. So they're gonna
Yeah.
shove that in people's faces. But like I think I saw the Batman New 52. It's not really easy to get hold of all of it first, like the beginning run of
Mm,
that. If you miss on that,
mm,
it's quite popular run to get hold of. So I get those. The ones
yeah.
you kind of like you want to get them introduced to it. So
Oh, there
oh
you go.
okay.
Near mint condition
Yeah, yeah, I follow
collectible
him.
channel has a video with those small books. Okay,
So
cool.
I must miss. I follow that channel because I like to see what's collected editions are looking like. It's actually quite
hmm
useful. By the way, good ups for you making that Crumb Hellboy stuff because now they announced that they're
Oh, the
making the
Corbin
movie.
Hellboy. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Corbin. Yeah, and not Crumb, sorry, Corbin.
no,
And
that's good.
yeah, yeah, and they announced because of the movie of Hellboy. Did you see the trailer?
I did. Yeah, I did watch the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I don't know.
eh.
Does it look like anything to you? I couldn't really tell if I was interested or not, to be honest. It looked
I
like
mean,
just a movie.
the movie they basing on is that
Yeah,
edition.
as the Crooked Man. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So and apparently it's like you're gonna do the scary vibe to it. I'm not really sure if it's necessary to be honest. Hellboy is never on the cinematic universe never done really well. I mean,
Mm,
I watched them all because I'm a
hmm
Hellboy fan. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't have the actor who's doing Hellboy. I don't have any vibes from him. It doesn't have
right, right.
pizzazz Hellboy is supposed to have, in my opinion. Hellboy is not
Yeah,
your typical a creature. Like the personality has to be there. He
yeah.
doesn't hold bars when it comes to him doing his own things. It kind of felt like a little bit odd, but at least that's the trailer feeling. But apart of that,
hmm
that's it. There's nothing else I can say.
Yeah, it just kind of looked like a trailer. Like it didn't really leave much of an impression either way on me. I mean,
Yeah,
I haven't seen all the Hellboy movies. The
yeah.
ones I've seen, I really enjoyed them though.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'd be curious. I see that the trailer that I saw anyway, they didn't have the Crooked Man reveal of what that creature is going to look like.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering because that'll obviously be a big selling point. Like, what is that? What are they? How are they going to portray that? What is it going to look like? But I don't know, man. It looks like one to, as AFPC would say, pirate and maybe see it that way. Trailer for Cooker Man looks like half baked poop, like a cheap generic TV show. Yeah, it didn't really strike me as anything kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, I agree. But then you
Amazing
have
Screw on
to,
Head. That would be amazing to have an
yeah,
animated adaptation of Hellboy. I think that would be the way to go for sure.
yeah. But then you have to have the right team of animators to work on that because if
Yeah,
you get it that wrong, oops, then it doesn't
yeah,
feel right. Anyway,
yeah. No, totally.
all right then.
Cool. Okay, people. Thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. It was good to see you all on a Sunday. and
Yeah.
maybe we'll see you next week if things work out. But we'll see how it
Mm-hmm.
goes. All
Yeah.
right, later.
Bye.